Good morning, 5 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Our forecast today calling for partly to mostly cloudy skies, our high going to 93 degrees. It'll be humid today, so we've got a heat index near 101. And there's also a chance of afternoon showers or thunderstorms again today. In the news, election 2026, and today is primary election day. Channel 4's Stacey Cameron breaks down some early voting.
Early voting has exploded since the last primary, but the surge isn't in rural areas. It's in the Nashville suburbs. Republican early turnout is up 80% in Wilson County, 41% in Williamson, and 37% in Rutherford. But meanwhile, rural Murray County, Hatcher's home turf, is up just 6%.
And in the redrawn 5th congressional district there, Channel 4 says that polls show a dead heat, making turnout critical for today. Even though President Trump has backed Andy Ogles, outside groups poured millions of dollars into boost Charlie Hatcher's campaign. Now, the race for U.S. Senate in Michigan taking shape Tuesday night. Democrats in the state chose progressive candidate Abdul El-Sayed over moderate Representative Haley Stevens, despite a large difference in spending in their campaigns, including from Jewish organizations who largely put their support behind Haley Stevens.
There are many Jews in the Democratic Party who El-Sayed already had in his camp. Many American Jews find themselves aligned with progressivism and share El-Sayed's views on Gaza. But supporters of Israel pumped tens of millions of dollars into this race in an effort to elect Haley Stevens. In that respect, El-Sayed described himself as a David in a battle against Goliath.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
The Dow rose on hopes about a deal on the Strait of Hormuz, while the Nasdaq took a hit on an artificial intelligence shakeup. The Dow gained 284 points, the S&P lost 12, the Nasdaq lost 221. Google dropped 4% after announcing a leadership shakeup in its AI division. SpaceX plummeted 13% following its quarterly report, which showed a sharp boost in AI spending. And Advanced Micro Devices fell 6% after SpaceX announced it would exclusively use NVIDIA chips. On the winning end, Booking Holdings jumped more than 6% after reporting that strong travel demand drove profit and revenue growth in its most recent quarter. Video game maker Electronic Arts closed a $55 billion sale of its business to Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, PIF. Investment firm Silver Lake Partners and Affinity Partners, which is run by Jared Kushner. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Dow futures right now plus 168. We've got NASDAQ futures falling 111, though, and the S&P futures are on the plus side by 14. That's the latest news. Stick around. Your traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. But we have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you'll have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
got a quiet start on the roads to our Thursday morning. No problems, no delays on any of the major roads. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello. So I don't know, Joan, is there anything going on today? Is there any big news? Anything that we should be doing today? Am I missing anything?
Yeah, I think there's a few things.
So
It's like election day.
It is election day. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
It's also the day that the vote on Fauci and the
You know what? The
Senate
fact that they have Fauci's phone.
Oh,
that is so delicious.
So here's the story in case people don't know it. HHS found the backup to Fauci's COVID-era iPhone, and they have turned it over to Rand Paul.
Of all the people that you don't want, if you're Anthony Fauci, of all the people that you don't want to have a copy of your iPhone from the COVID era, it's Rand Paul. And so now, and I want you to think about this. Realize how incredibly careless Anthony Fauci was with his little diary that he had kept on government servers. Imagine what is on that iPhone.
I can't even.
Because clearly, I think that, is it fair to say that Anthony Fauci had a God complex?
Oh, I think that's, yes.
Is it fair to say that he felt like, and you can tell this by reading the diary entries where he is enamored by all of that publicity and attention that he was getting. So I feel like he felt like he could do no wrong. And so I would assume that there was some carelessness regarding his phone and what he text messaged, maybe what he emailed from private emails, or maybe what he searched, places he went.
Not just that, depending on the type of backup file, they could just have the keystrokes.
Yeah.
Whatever you even typed in, even if you backed out and deleted it.
I could never be a politician. I just couldn't.
Why? What's on your phone, Dan?
You know what?
Whoa.
If people looked at my phone, they would realize that I'm a little weird. And not in a Perez Hilton kind of way. No. All I'm saying is that you would see and I've said this before, so I'll say it again. So one of the things that I've actually been fascinated with is if you, what do they call, like decomposition of bodies, like when somebody dies.
Yeah.
How do their bodies decompose in a coffin? I'm fascinated by that. I don't know why, but I am. What's that?
Have you searched this?
I have.
Are you watching like how it's made videos?
like autopsies. I find that stuff fascinating. Autopsies and that kind of stuff.
The ribs.
Yeah, I mean, just
then
that
an
kind of
incision
stuff
is made down the midline.
Whatever. Anyway, all I'm saying is, you look at my phone, that's the kind of stuff that you're going to find.
Yeah.
So anyway, whatever. So, but Fauci, I mean, Lord knows what they're going to find on that dude's phone. So I think that Rand Paul, he's going to be excited, and we'll probably find out, exactly what he was up to. During that time, the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee will be voting also on a resolution to hold Fauci in contempt. So that is also a big story today. By the way, it is primary election day, so I have nerded out on the interviews. And so listen to what I've done. I don't know if I should be excited or dread all of this, but at 6:05, Congressman Andy Ogles from the 5th, he's going to be joining us, 6:05. At 6:35, his opponent, Charlie Hatcher, will be joining us, and we're going to be talking about not only issues, we'll be talking about, congressional issues and race issues with Andy Ogles. We'll also be talking about Governor Lee's decision to endorse his opponent, Charlie Hatcher. Then at 6:35, we'll talk to Charlie Hatcher. And we're going to talk to Charlie about, all of that money that outside groups have been pouring into the race in favor of him. So we'll talk about that with Charlie Hatcher. We'll talk about his relationship with Governor Lee as well. We've been talking about this Invest in Tomorrow group that poured in like $2 million. And $1.3 million was specifically to defeat Andy Ogles. Another $700 million was in support of Hatcher's campaign. And they contend, what's that?
700,000.
What did I say?
700 million.
That's a lot of money.
Ooh.
$700 million.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam. $700,000 to support Charlie Hatcher. They actually say, Invest in Tomorrow, they actually say that the race is really close, Ogles and Hatcher. I don't know about that, but it's worthy to have both of them on. 7:05, we're going to have Senator Blackburn on. 7:35, John Rose. 8:05, Monty Fritz. All three gubernatorial candidates will be with us between 7:05 and 8:05. So looking forward to that. Basically, the way I'm looking at this, Joan, is this is a last-ditch effort, a last chance for them to reach the undecided voters. Now, we found out yesterday that a lot of people, a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives early voted. So, that's good. I'm a big proponent of early voting. So we'll talk to Senator Blackburn, Congressman Rose, Monty Fritz as well about why people should vote for them on the actual voting day, primary election day, August 6th of 2026.
And with that, these interviews, if you're not going to be around to listen to them live, I'm going to do my best to get everything podcasted and uploaded no later than 9:30 this morning. If you want to listen to it before you go make your decision today, we'll have all three of those interviews isolated and uploaded for you on the podcast.
And I'm going to ask Charlie Hatcher about that $700 million, Joan.
I'd prefer you ask him about more chocolate milk for the studio.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to ask him, because I don't endorse candidates, if I endorse Charlie Hatcher, will you give me like a year's worth of free chocolate milk?
What if he just drops a cow off in your driveway?
Hang on. Didn't he bring the milk here?
He did.
It was on a Friday, right?
He brought that chocolate milk.
When I was not here.
You were not here, and I gave. What did I do again, Sam?
You gave me Matt Murphy's chocolate milk.
That's right, because Murphy Show doesn't drink chocolate milk because he's a commie.
But he was going to give it to Jackson. So there was consternation because Jackson didn't get the chocolate milk and I did.
Do you know, Joan, I don't know if you know this, but, the Democrat Socialists of America, as far as what they stand for, one of them is no chocolate milk.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
So there, ergo.
Is it racist? Is that what you said?
Yeah, is it because it's racist?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Because to them, everything is racist. And so I can only assume that Matt Murphy is an official card-carrying member of the Democrat Socialists of America.
That's a problem.
Because he, like the DSA, don't like chocolate milk. It's un-American, is what I would say. Anyway, so Charlie Hatcher, 6:35. And as I said, Blackburn, Rose, and Monty Fritz, 7:05, 7:35, 8:05. I went into Joan's studio in our pre-show meeting, and I said, I don't know if this is good or bad, but this is what I've done. And Joan has assured me that it's a good thing because today is, primary election day.
I think this is good, yes.
Because I don't like to overdose on interviews. I don't. But I think it's poignant to have all of these people on today. So anyway, but I'm really looking forward to, more than anything, to find out what is on Fauci's phone.
I was thinking about that earlier when it was all brought up.
Yes.
I am willing to bet that there are a couple selfies of him in like the green room at NBC or something before he went out on stage. I guarantee like a mirror selfie or something.
He's got pictures. Okay, so you're right, Sam. So he's got pictures of him in front of like the Face the Nation logo, the ABC logo. I don't know what the ABC show. You would know. Joan, what is the ABC show on Sundays? Because remember the Fauci.
Face the Nation.
Yeah, he in front of the Face the Nation, logo. He's probably got photos of him, in the foreground, and he's got like Margaret Brennan in the background. You know what I mean?
The New York Times.
Face the Nation is CBS. I am so fake news.
Fake news.
Yeah.
You're like 0 for 2 today. Joan earlier sent us a wrong forecast, and and Sam called her fake news. Fake news Jones. Anyway, what were you going to say, Sam?
I was going to say prominent interviews, the New York Times, CBS's Face the Nation, Science Magazine, This Week in Virology, it was impossible to escape him and his very abrasive accent. I like the way he talks.
This week with George Snuffleupagus.
There you go. Anyway, whatever. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Well, there is still nothing going on this morning. It's really quiet on the major roadways heading into Nashville. All is well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, for your forecast for today, mostly cloudy, high of 93. Going to feel like 101. Possible thunderstorms this afternoon. So you want to get out and you want to vote early today, as a matter of fact. Sam, let's do a Daily Dan poll. Did you vote early? Yes or no? That's all I want to know. Did you vote early, yes or no? So this wasn't a real big surprise to me as we move on to some actual content. The latest on Iran. Did you see this, Joan? So we saw this coming a mile away. First of all, there's all of these different headlines regarding the negotiations. One Gulf official is now saying that there is a 50-50 chance that there will be some sort of an agreement on the Strait of Hormuz by Friday, which of course is tomorrow. We'll see. But, last night, this story came out where President Trump, true to form, President Trump says the Strait of Hormuz could be opened. He said this yesterday at some point on Wednesday. It's now Thursday. It's not open. Have I missed any news, Joan? Is the Strait of Hormuz open?
It is not.
Okay. Do you want to make sure that I didn't miss anything? So the president said, very good Iran negotiations. Then Iran's top Revolutionary Guard comes in and throws cold water on the whole thing. Stop me when you've heard this before, saying, as long as the United States and Israel possess nuclear weapons, we will continue working on nuclear weapons as well for our national security. This was the IRGC Commander-in-Chief Ahmad Vahidi saying, according to a translation of remarks circulating on Wednesday, if they disarm, meaning the U.S. and Israel, we will disarm. So now President Trump is like, all he's been saying for 5 months is they can't have nuclear weapons. They can't have nuclear weapons. Trump comes out yesterday and says, all the negotiations have been going really well, only to have Iran, again, true to form, come out and throw the whole thing in disarray by saying, if the U.S. and Israel have nuclear weapons, then we will have nuclear weapons as well. And by the way, one word in that sentence that they're talking about, the Iranians, the Iran commander-in-chief, saying that they will continue working on nuclear weapons for our national security. Basically, what they did is they admitted that they're working on nuclear weapons, as in for weapons, as opposed to commercial uses and industrial uses, like to keep the power on and that kind of a thing. Benjamin Netanyahu responded, of course, like he would, vowing that Israel would continue preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon with or without a diplomatic agreement, saying today, we heard the commander of the Revolutionary Guards, Vahidi, explicitly declare Iran's intention to continue developing nuclear weapons. Continue, as he puts it, Netanyahu said at a ceremony marking the reinterment of Shimon and Rivka Herzl, the grandparents of the founder of modern-day Zionism, so on and so forth. So a big doing in Israel. So the negotiations now continue. We'll have to see ultimately what happens, but it just doesn't sound like it's going real well. And, I mean, who didn't see this coming a mile away? I mean, honestly, who didn't see this coming a mile away? I've got some audio only, Sam. President Trump is now, it's going to be one of those things where he's going to have to, I don't know, crap or get off the pot.
We were going to a tremendous attack, the biggest since World War II. Other presidents or other countries should have been able to do this. And I did something that I had to do, because if they had a nuclear weapon, this whole world would be a different place.
So President Trump, he was asked, okay, what are you going to do if the negotiations go south with Iran? And it does sound like they have, or at least they're well on their way to going south, when they come out and say, again, as predicted, that if the U.S. and Israel has nuclear weapons, we will continue with our nuclear weapons program. This means that Donald Trump, you just heard him say, what happens if negotiations fail? We are going to hit them hard, the president has said and has been saying.
We hit them very, very hard, but the hard hit is yet to come, and hopefully we won't have to use it. I hope we won't have to. We're having very good discussions. They don't like to admit that, but it's a little bit disconcerting.
So, yeah, now I guess the question is, if we are ultimately, and this is part of what's happening, is that right now we're negotiating over the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. So realize we're not even necessarily talking about nuclear weapons per se. We're just trying to get the Strait of Hormuz back open. And so we are just a long ways off. I don't mean to be a Danny Downer on a Thursday where people are going to vote in the primaries. It's a big day here in the state of Tennessee, here in Middle Tennessee as well. Take the Daily Dan poll. Oh, by the way, we have a bit of an event coming up tonight as well. So if you want to come out and you want to hang out with Murphy Show, Chad Benson, Chris Hand, yours truly, Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. Check out all the details, 997WTN.com. Matt will be broadcasting live beginning at 3 at Hop Springs, again, in Murfreesboro. I guess they're going to have food trucks and the whole thing out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I don't know all the details of the thing. I basically know when I'm going to show up, and I kind of sort of know when I'm going to leave, and then I'm going to talk. But most importantly, I get to meet a lot of you folks, and that is what I love to do. So, in answer to all of your queries, Joan Jones will not be there. Neither will Sam, not even for the free food that I offered. So, but that's fine.
Bring us a plate tomorrow morning.
I will not be bringing you a plate. You want food. You want food. You got to show up.
I don't know, Sam. I don't think that's very nice of him.
Yeah.
Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Not
we'll
very
still
nice.
Respect you. It's okay.
Sure.
Chris pressed me yesterday about why I'm not going, and I'm like, I've got to help my wife plan my younger sister-in-law's baby shower for the twins. And everyone thought that was like a cop-out. I'm like, no, I'm over the moon about having to make little decorations, guys. Very excited for these twins to get here.
When do they do?
November.
Okay. So they get the Trump accounts.
Yeah.
We got a situation in my family, Joan, where we've got Jameson, who was born almost 2 years ago, not available for the $1,000 Trump accounts, but little Lincoln is.
Oh, yeah.
So now what do we do? Because Lincoln is going to have $1,000 head start on Jameson. So
you do what we did. And it's the same for my daughter's children. So they created an account for the older daughter, and now we feed that. Grandparents can add money to it.
So what I'm thinking about doing is Lincoln has the $1,000 from the federal government.
Correct, yeah.
So I'm thinking about going ahead and putting $1,000 in Jameson's account.
It's the right thing to do.
So that everybody, but then, when Lincoln turns 18, he's going to be like, what do you mean Grandpa gave you $1,000 and he didn't give me $1,000? And it'll start a big family feud. And I don't want to do that.
Don't even think about it. Just do it.
Just do it. So give Jameson the $1,000 and
absolutely start the kid off on the right foot.
That's what I'm going to do. And then over the years, I'm going to go ahead and as a family, we'll put in the
at birthdays, at Christmas. You put $50, $100. Make it so that it starts adding up, and it uses compounding interest.
Yep.
And by the time these kids are older, they're gonna have a nice little nut to start their lives out with.
Yep, you're right, Joan.
Beautiful thing. I just love this idea.
I do. I think it's a great idea. Some people are saying it's socialism. I get it, but I still think it's a great idea because you know what? Let me ask you this question, Joan. How much did you know about finances when you were 18?
Nothing.
I knew
nothing.
I knew absolutely nothing. Do you know how much credit card I racked up?
Yeah, me too.
When I was 18?
I did the same.
And then my mom, I told this story about how my mom found my credit card bill. And I was like 19, and I was in like $8,000 worth of debt.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, it was insanity. And my mom lost her ever-loving mind. Now, I thought about declaring bankruptcy, and my dad was like, no. You're not going to declare bankruptcy. You need to have some accountability. You are going to pay this off, and here's how we're going to do it. And I paid it off. I paid it off over years. I mean, it took me years.
Yeah.
But that's why, I mean, to this day, I refuse to, because my dad basically, he told me all about, paying interest on credit cards and all that kind of stuff. And how if you have $100 on a credit card and you've got 10% interest and you've got $10 that you've got to pay before you start paying down the principal.
Yeah.
He went through all of that.
That's
and I'm
good.
like, Dad, why didn't you tell me this when I was like 14?
Yeah.
You're telling me this now when I'm 19 and $8,000 or whatever it is. And I had multiple credit cards. So once he finally explained to me, and, it's on me. I should have known better, but for whatever reason, I didn't. So I think that this is an opportunity to explain to your younglings, 12, 13, 14, what compounding interest is if you have money in this kind of account. But also you can talk about interest as far as credit card goes, and it opens up the conversation as to how to be responsible financially.
Yep.
Which for whatever reason a lot of parents don't necessarily think to do. It is 5:26 on Super Talk. That sermon is over. Joan's got the news. Sorry, man. Joan's got the news coming up at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, it was an argument over a drink. A Nashville workplace shooting has been solved. We've got that coming up at 5:30 and more on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Now, Joan, do we know what kind of drink it is that they fought over?
That's a good question. I do not know.
Okay.
I'll look into that, Dan.
Well, I mean, was anybody killed? Did somebody die?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just curious what drink it was because it sounds so silly.
It does sound silly.
I mean, really, you're going to shoot somebody over a drink?
Yeah.
So anyway, Joan's got the news coming up at 5:30 on WTN. Dan Mandis here, and I got to tell you, I love my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling because they are always looking for ways to save you money. Back to school time means back to busy schedules, homework, and activities. The last thing you need to worry about is your HVAC. So let Busy Bee do that for you with big savings. So here in the month of August, you schedule any HVAC maintenance or repair, and you get a free dryer vent cleaning. That is added safety and one less thing that you've got to worry about in your home as the kids go back to school. If you need a new HVAC system, buy a high efficiency unit and you'll be entered to win Busy Bee's Healthy Hive giveaway. That is a $1,500 sponsorship for the local school of your choice. You can also gift your favorite teacher or staff member a Beehive membership. You can also get a $500 gift card with qualifying whole home repipes or mainline replacements. Always great ways to save with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And by the way, with approved credit, enjoy 0% financing for 18 months. Find them online, busybeehvac.com. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-775-7833. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Times are tough. Absolutely, I agree. Now, if you need a new truck or a minivan, maybe an SUV, Mid-10 Ford, they can help you out with great selection, terrific pricing as well. Mid-10 Ford, they've been around for 56 years, since 1969, helping people get the vehicle that is right for them. They can help you save $1,000 or more on select Ford trucks. They also offer special financing as well if you need it. Now, Mid-10 Ford, I like to say that they're a one-stop shop. You can buy your vehicle there at Mid-10 Ford. You can get it serviced. They have a body shop as well. So you want a brand new or a pre-owned vehicle, you can check out all of the great deals at their website, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. They offer low-pressure sales, maximum customer service if you show up at their business, 1319 Foster Avenue. This is a family-owned business going back 4 generations. So, yeah, they do know how to treat customers. So let them help you get into your next vehicle. Again, low-pressure sales, maximum customer service. Find them online, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. Let their family take care of your family.
Good morning. It's 5:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we've got partly to mostly cloudy skies for you today, a high of 93 degrees. Pretty humid, too, so the heat index is at 101, and there's a chance of afternoon showers or thunderstorms. In the news, this is the day that the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee is voting on a resolution to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress for refusing to answer questions during last week's committee hearing, despite having a pardon from former President Joe Biden. Also, breaking news from late yesterday, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul has obtained a copy of Dr. Fauci's COVID-era iPhone backup. It was discovered by HHS and forwarded to the senator. It's unclear if any of that information will be available for today's hearing. In other news, an arrest has been made in the workplace shooting death at West Nashville's U-Haul store on Tuesday. Here's Channel 4's Amber Giant.
Well, police say this all started with an argument that quickly escalated to gunfire at this U-Haul here on Annex Avenue. Now, right now, the store remains closed as the investigation continues. 23-year-old Devin Rice has been taken into custody and has been charged with criminal homicide. Now, police say during an interview, he admitted to arguing with his coworker about a drink before shooting him.
And we do not know what kind of drink. The 56-year-old coworker died at the hospital. And the New Mexico ranch that was once owned by Jeffrey Epstein is now the center of a lawsuit. New Mexico's attorney general suing the DOJ, claiming it is being stonewalled.
Torres accused the Department of Justice of obstructing his office's investigation into the crimes committed at the sprawling ranch Epstein once owned in New Mexico. He says his office requested unredacted Epstein files 10 times to assist their investigation, but the Department of Justice has only turned over a fraction of the requested records. He asked a federal judge in Washington to declare the withholding of records unlawful and force the Department of Justice to provide his office with access to unredacted Epstein files. The DOJ says they're complying with the law and that turning over the records may violate the privacy of victims. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
That is the latest news. Traffic's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 5:34, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Really looking forward to today's Thursday, right? So the day after tomorrow, Saturday, August 8th, it is free O-Sight Day at the Glock store. Now, you all know about the O-Sight optics. They are incredible. You're going to get a free hands-on range time, great O-Sight giveaways, exclusive O-Sight in-store discounts as well, food trucks, and a whole lot more. You know, the Glock store, they really know how to do events. And again, they've got one coming up day after tomorrow. It is free O-Sight Day, Saturday, August 8th, coming up the day after tomorrow. The reviews on these O-Sight optics, they have been amazing. So right now, you can check them out for yourself at the Glock store. Now, it all begins at 9 o'clock. It's going to go till 6, so save the date. The Glock store, of course, it is where I still go for all my guns, my ammo, and my training. Check them out today, glockstore.com, shoot270.com. The Glock store, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
Looking good on the roads. There are just some minor delays beginning now on 24 westbound past Laverne as you make your way into Nashville. Otherwise, looking good. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.538 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. It is time for
Jones World, party time. Excellent.
It's time for Jones World, and
I so love that.
This is. I feel like we need a music bed. This is like the. This is the show behind the show kind of thing. So I feel like, Sam, there should be some sort of music bed behind that.
That continues a little bit after.
That continues, for maybe 20 seconds afterwards. Because it ends a little abruptly.
I'm trying not to get sued, guys.
No, there's all kinds of vanilla, not elevator music, but there's all kinds of royalty-free music out there.
Have AI make it.
Have AI make it. This is not.
That is not that. No.
This is not.
No.
Joan, do you ever think that sometimes Sam just likes to be argumentative because he's Sam?
Oh, hourly, I think.
Hourly?
Yes.
What do you think happens when you're raised by two attorneys?
I would say, in the spirit of all things radio, I would say, Joan, quarterly.
Oh, I see.
Shut up.
That's a radio thought. Whatever. All right. Time for Joan's World. So, Joan, first up, and by the way, this is for me, my first time hearing some of these topics. And so I am discovering them, perhaps along with some of you folks as well. And the first one, it's video, Sam, has to do with Coca-Cola. Go ahead, Sam. Joan?
Yeah, so this guy, and I don't know who he is, but he's on the Coca-Cola website where you can, personalize a can of Coca-Cola.
Yes.
And have it sent to you. So he figures out that Coca-Cola sort of maybe hates Jesus. Go ahead.
Coca-Cola, I'm going to need an explanation for this. All right, we're going to do this one live because I don't want to see any comments that, this is a conspiracy theory, blah, blah. You can see we're on the Coca-Cola website, URL right there. We're going to scroll down to personalize our Coke can. The first entry we're going to try is Allah is King. No issues with that. You can see it on the Coke can. Next entry we're going to try. No issues with that.
That was Satan is king, by the way.
That was Satan is king. So
Satan is king.
So we've done Allah is king. We've done Satan is king. And now let me guess. He's going to try Jesus is king?
Yeah, here we go.
Try Satan is king.
Oh, there you go. This is Satan.
Zero issues with Satan. Now let's try Jesus is king. Now that's where there's issues. So you can still see the Satan on the Coke can here. Immediately rejects Jesus is king. Gonna need an explanation on this one.
All right, so here's what I want to do. Sam, can you try, I want to fact check this.
Yeah.
So Sam, can you try, and maybe people who are listening can try as well. Go to the website. I don't even know what it is. You can find it. Y'all are smart people. And see if you can type in.
Do you want me to do it for the people to be able to see it?
Yeah, if you want. Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right.
I used the same browser. Let's see, where's the...
Make sure you don't have anything weird on your browser, Sam, before you share it with the world.
Well, it's not my browser.
Because it's not real surprising. I mean, knowing, some of these corporate entities, but good Lord, if you're going to have Allah and Satan.
Okay.
And by the way, what if your name is Jesus and you want to be king?
Enter name.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
Let's see.
So Sam is going to try live on the YouTube chat.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
What does it do?
So I typed in, and people are watching on the stream. You see I've pulled up the window for it. I clicked through. First you have to pick your brand, Coke, Diet Coke, whatever. Pick a special occasion or theme. I just went with the traditional, red and white with a little swoosh through it. Then number 3, personalize your cans with a name or phrase. Please be aware preview may not fully reflect the final produced version. I type in Jesus is King. I hit preview, and it says, the name or phrase you've submitted is not permitted. Names and phrases may not be permitted if they belong to a business, organization, celebrity, public figure, school team, or other trademark are religious or political in nature, or could be considered inappropriate or unsuitable for other reasons.
Okay, here's what I want to know. Is it possible, Joan, and I don't want to give Coca-Cola the benefit of the doubt. I'm a Pepsi guy. But
well, it's kicking back Allah.
Is it possible that Jesus is King is somehow copyrighted? I can't imagine.
It doesn't allow Jesus either. Just the word Jesus.
It doesn't allow just the word Jesus? But it did for the long-haired individual on your video. It did allow Allah.
Oh, Allah.
And
Allah
it did
is king, and
allow Satan is king.
Now, today, I just put in Satan, single word, and it's not permitting that. It's also not permitting Allah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess instead of allowing people to have Jesus, they're going to stop everybody else from having their preferred, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, their preferred religion or whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
You know, that is so incredible.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Coca-Cola. Really? Like, you can't?
I just put Joan on.
Okay, now.
Joan's fine.
Yeah? How about Dan? Is Dan allowed to be king?
Dan is king. Yes.
Can you do oh, my God.
Dan is
you know what we
king.
need to do? We need to do, like, well, Dan. On a, just in honor, just if Marsha Blackburn happens to win today, we can,
You can do well, Dan.
We can have well, Dan Coke cans.
Well, it'd be funnier if she didn't and you sent her one. Like, here, Marsha, this Coke's on me.
Anyway, so thank you,
So I just
Sam.
put well, Dan, ... like there's something more to say.
Yes.
And it's still not, it didn't not allow it.
Oh, you
It
know what?
just-
Somebody says try God as king.
Okay, it does allow well, Dan, ... Okay.
God is king and Christ is king. Then we're going to move on.
No, God is king is not allowed. Christ is king, not allowed.
So at least they're now consistent, right? At least they're now consistent. I don't know. If somebody wants to do Satan is king, should they be allowed to do that? Because if you allow Satan as king.
It doesn't allow it anymore. So they must have changed it after
Okay, so
that
here's
video.
my question. Here's my question to you. Would you rather have them ban Satan as king and ban Christ as king? Or would you rather have them allow everybody to have whoever they worship on the can? So you can do Christ as king, you can do Satan as king, you can do Allah as king, whatever.
Dan, you know what my response is going to be.
I don't know what
you?
your response is going to be. That's why I'm asking you the question.
Jesus is king should be the only one. Allah should be like burn a hole through the can.
Okay, fine.
And let all the fuzz out.
Well, let people, bring about what they wish for. If you want to put something that could potentially spiritually harm you on a soda can, by all means, you should be able to do that. It's your choice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what about, somebody asked what about
you guys are so
Trump?
predictable. I love you both. All right.
Trump is not allowed.
No, because
Trademarked.
he's copyrighted, trademarked.
How about
Yeah.
DJT? Not allowed.
All right. Well, there you go.
Joe's going to be occupied for a while.
Do you know what? I bet you.
You're fired. Is allowed.
Can we move on?
Okay, we can.
Thank you. Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith. I didn't know all of the. I have to admit, I don't know a whole lot about Stephen Smith, but
It's Stephen A.
Stephen A,
You got
I'm
to put the
sorry.
A in there, man.
Yeah.
Because Stephen Smith was a football player. Go ahead.
Okay. So he's finally telling his COVID story, and this, I gotta tell you, is really incredible, and he's mad.
Oh, he is very mad. This is Stephen A. Smith.
Do I think that he should be embarrassed for the self-adulation that he engaged in?
Talking about Fauci.
You damn right I do. Because some of the things that he was telling us to do was inconsistent with science, but he was telling us it was science that led to him making the decisions that he made.
You know what's so funny about Stephen A. Smith? Like, I can say the same thing as him, but he just says it with such conviction and pissed offedness.
Pissed offedness is a great word.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like there are times when I've got to channel my inner Stephen A. Smith,
Yeah.
but nobody wants to be yelled at in morning drive.
Oh, it's how he's convinced people Dak Prescott's a championship caliber quarterback.
And he's not?
Nope.
Okay, moving on.
Masking, 6 feet distancing, the closing of businesses, forcing businesses to push those mandates upon people like me and others. Because I took the vaccine, and I took a booster, and I wore a mask.
I wonder how many boosters he got, because remember they had like 75?
I think he said in this video that he took 3.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, yeah.
3?
Yeah, listen.
And we were told, hey, you ain't going to get COVID if you do that. And I got COVID.
Maybe that's why he's got such rage.
Yeah.
Because he took all the vaccines and those boosters.
And damn it almost killed me. Going into 2022, I'm in the hospital 90 minutes before the ball is about to drop. And the doctor says, we've been at this for 3+ weeks. You got double pneumonia. You look really bad. If this antibiotic and this steroid does not work, Mr. Smith, I'm sorry, we're going to have to call your family.
Isn't that amazing?
It looks that bad.
Yep.
But we should know in 3 hours. And through the grace of God, 3 hours later, I felt better after they gave me that steroid and that antibiotic. But those were the longest 3 hours of my life because I thought it was over. And I remember I had done exactly what Dr. Anthony Fauci was imploring us all to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course, places of business forcing, their employees to take vaccines. I mean, the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it was obviously an awful time. And by the way, I also especially like that he apologized to, and I forget who it was, Sam might know, but he had, during the COVID time, gone after a player who was questioning the masks and the vaccines and all that.
Yeah.
And,
was it Aaron Rodgers?
No, it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. It was somebody else.
Okay.
And Stephen A. Smith, went after that player.
Cole Beasley for the Buffalo Bills, white wide receiver.
And so he basically was saying, you look weak for not taking the vaccine and all these other things. He actually apologized to him 5 years later.
Yeah.
When this was just a couple of days ago for Stephen A. Smith. So
I was going to say, I don't know if y'all saw this. It was from a few years back. Federal jury awarded former Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan IT specialist nearly $12.7 million after finding the company unlawfully filed her for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine due to her Catholic beliefs.
She worked at home.
Full-time remote employee, 30 years with the company.
Oh, there's clearly no doubt that there was a lot of societal manipulation going on during COVID, and that was one of them. I mean, there was a societal mandate from the top, the presidency on down, that you were supposed to get the COVID shot. And whether it was, the president forcing businesses to force employees to, get the COVID shot, to the lies about if you take the vaccine, you won't get COVID. I mean, all of the lies and all of the manipulations that happened during COVID. And as we've discussed, this is why people no longer, trust the things that they used to trust.
Yeah.
So, all right, next, Mamdani gets booed.
Yeah, this is at the National Night Out. So the NYPD put on a national night out event. This was in Staten Island. So he takes the stage and he tries to say, "Hey, hi everyone, thank you for inviting me."
People are booing him.
It's outrageously loud. He's speaking right now, in case you're not watching the video, but you can't hear him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is Staten Island, I think Staten Island in New York is a more conservative area.
Yes, it is. It doesn't matter. He gets booed everywhere. The officers turn their backs on him.
Well, it's because he's a putz.
Yeah.
I wonder if he can hear, because I've been in situations like that where
you
you're
really
like
can't tell.
up there on stage.
Well, he made it so short.
Well, it's like 35 seconds.
Yeah, he made it so short. I think he absolutely knew that he was not welcome there. And no matter what he said, nobody was going to hear it anyway. So he just got off the stage.
Yeah, well, you know what? He and we talked about this last several days where, this I don't know what pay-to-pay tax, whatever they're calling it in New York.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, if you've got a second home, it's over $5 million, you don't live in it, and you apparently the accusation is that you're not paying taxes on it. Now you will. And he outed all of those people. But then it turns out that a lot of those people, it was not their second home. It was not a home worth over $5 million. And they have been paying taxes on it. He outed all of these people,
Yes.
doxed them.
Even people that live there full time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just evil.
The petition to bar him from the 9/11 memorial has reached 72,000 signatures from roughly 300 families.
Don't come to the 25th anniversary ceremony at the Ground Zero. Don't come.
Remember, it's about him, though.
It's about his aunt who was afraid to wear her hijab on the subway, even though she didn't live in New York or wear a hijab.
Yeah.
Who's more vain, Fauci or Mamdani? Let's go to the
Mamdani. I mean, the way he smirked and grinned as he's walking off stage to those hundreds, maybe even a few thousand people booing him.
All right, we got to wrap this up real quick.
Which one do you like? The
Let's
last
do
two?
Amazon.
Okay, go ahead.
So apparently there was an Amazon delivery driver who just decided to hurl a package onto the front. Is there audio to this?
No, there's not. So
okay, so she just basically
ring doorbell camera.
She walks up, right hand, and she just
tosses it
like a 7-year-old trying to bowl. You know what I mean? Where they just throws it.
So here's the thing. Amazon says that this is not one of their drivers that they employ. Amazon actually uses drivers from other companies that are subcontractors.
Yeah.
Now, so this is kind of personal for me. They hire from places like Uni, which is a company out of Atlanta. And a Uni driver actually hit my car, backed up into it. I have the video. I sent the video. I have the package tracking because they delivered to the people next door. I have everything, sent it to them. They absolutely refuse to pay.
Shocker.
Yeah, these companies do not give a crap about your packages, nor do they care about your cars.
So I'm looking at CNN real quick. Tucker Carlson fuels 28 speculation after MAGA breakup. Is Tucker actually considering running for office?
So there's a video out that it's Jeremy Boring from the Daily Wire. I don't know if you know who he is. He is not with Daily Wire anymore, but he has a theory that says that Tucker Carlson wants to take the economic policies of the left and combine them with the cultural policies of the right and create a new party.
So he wants to destroy capitalism?
He does. And he wants to destroy...
Ironic coming from a guy whose family made millions off of capitalism.
And he wants to destroy, he wants to take Christians off he doesn't want them within the party.
Tucker doesn't want Christians within the party?
No.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Got to go. 5:56. Joan's got the news. By the way, I do know who Jeremy Boring is. Thank you, Joan.
Yeah. Well, not everybody does.
Joan, I'm not sure if you know who Tucker Carlson is, but he's in the news. Totally kidding. All right. Hey, Joan, I'm not sure if you know who Andy Ogles is, but...
Is he coming up?
He is coming up at 6:06 here on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news at 6. Joan.
Yeah, HHS is moving to shut down a Kentucky company over safety failures that could be written into a horror movie. Wait till you hear this story. It's coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here from Mark Spain Real Estate. If you are stuck in a home that you cannot sell, call my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate. If your open houses are being ignored, call Mark Spain. Now, their guaranteed offer does keep you in control. You are going to get out of your home fast and with maximum profit. There's a reason why Mark Spain Real Estate has over 72,000 clients, and they are the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. 13,000 five-star reviews simply cannot be wrong. This is a great real estate company. They are the company that I recommend for selling your home here in Middle Tennessee. So call them right now and get out of your home fast and move on to the next chapter in your life. The phone number, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD, or go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Good morning, 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and welcome to primary election day. Now, there may be some changes this year for voters because of redistricting. Davidson County Election Administrator John Richardson says that polling locations have not changed with redistricting, but he tells WSMV4 that you may have different names on your ballots.
Making sure that people are confident when they go to vote is important to us here at the Davidson County Election Commission. And that's why we sent out canary yellow voter registration cards to all registered voters in Davidson County so they can know exactly where to vote on Election Day. Please pay close attention to that congressional district number. That'll tell you what district you're now in.
Now, one of the most common problems at the polling place, he says, is voters who don't bring an ID. You need one, so bring it with you. Also, questions can be answered at nashville.gov/vote. RFK Jr. announcing he has decertified the organ harvesting company called Network for Hope. Health and Human Services said multiple federal reviews found patient safety failures that included some potential donors who were still alive, including TJ Hoover. His sister spoke to the media yesterday.
I saw what happened to my brother. They prepared to recover his organs while he was still alive. During that honor walk, his eyes were open. He was tracking me, and they told me it was just reflexes. Then during the heart cath, he was thrashing, crying, and grabbing the doctor's hands to stop him. Even after those signs, the organ procurement process continued until the physician refused to proceed.
Network for Hope served Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Equities investors looking ahead to another busy day of earnings reports have stocks poised for a higher opening. On Wednesday, the Dow rose 263 points to a new record, 54,349. No such luck for the S&P and NASDAQ composite. Both averages posted losses. New court filings say the Trump administration has refunded $100 billion in tariffs the Supreme Court ruled were illegal. ABC News has learned that only a few companies, though, are returning the money to their customers. DoorDash is predicting a busy end to the summer. After beating estimates in the past quarter, the delivery service is forecasting larger order volume and higher profits for the third quarter. Yet it's a Colonel Sanders mea culpa. A content creator named Atticus posted video of himself counting out the pieces in the 50-piece KFC chicken nugget bucket he had just bought, finding only 35 nuggets. KFC has publicly apologized. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures are looking pretty good. The Dow futures are plus 147. S&P futures are up 10, but the NASDAQ futures, they're minus 137. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:03, Dan Mattis here for Loan Pronto. If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to. Loan Pronto to the rescue. You can still get cash out of your home courtesy of Loan Pronto, introducing their zero-cost equity loan. That's right. Now, with Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. Now, one local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 every single month. Now, it does get better. As a matter of fact, there's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, and no long drawn-out process, and no closing costs. You may even be able to skip your next 2 house payments as well. So call Loan Pronto right now and leave your low rate mortgage behind. This is a great company. Leave your low rate mortgage intact, I should say, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com. See how much money you can save right now. 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Okay, a little slower now on 24 back through the Laverne area, but it's just normal volume at this point, and a little slow at the merge between 65 and 24 to the north. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to a Thursday, August 6th. It is primary election day. As such, we've got a lot of interviews scheduled today. Right now, we have Congressman Andy Ogles at 6:35. We'll have Congressman Ogles' opponent, Charlie Hatcher. 7:05, Senator Blackburn will be joining us. 7:35, John Rose. 8:05, Monty Fritz is going to be joining the radio program. Welcome on in to Nashville's Morning News, Congressman Ogles. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic and excited about winning tonight.
All right, so let's talk about a lot has happened in the last week. The campaign has become more interesting in the race for the 5th. Governor Bill Lee came out and endorsed your opponent, Charlie Hatcher, bucking President Trump, by the way, in the process. Were you surprised that the governor did that?
Not at all. You know, they have a history. You know, they have a friendship. But look, the gold standard for endorsements, if you're a conservative, is President Trump. I have that endorsement. I'm close to the president. I'm also endorsed by Speaker Mike Johnson and the founder of the House Freedom Caucus, Jim Jordan. And so when you look at the list of those that are supporting me, they're literally the conservative stalwarts that lead this country. And I happen to be not only endorsed by them, but I'm one of them as well.
One of the things that I noticed with one of the commercials that you're running is President Trump gives you quite the endorsement. It's actually longer than we usually hear with the president with these endorsements. Would you say that you've worked well with President Trump over the last couple of years? Talk about that relationship.
Yeah, you know, when I started as county mayor, I ran because the county's budget was a mess. And if you had asked me that, you know, a few years later that not only would I be in Congress, but that I would be one of the president's advisors, I would have kind of chuckled, and that's where I find myself. So I am one of you know, those dozen or so members of Congress that is with the president frequently. You know, I think he said in his endorsement that I would be enshrined as one of the greatest members of Congress, which was, when I read it, I was a little awestruck by that, because you know you know, he gives endorsements, but he tends to be a little sparing in his compliments, and he kind of gushed, and so again, I was humbled and honored that the president made those remarks about me.
You know, a lot has been made, and on this show as well, about this group known as the Invest in Tomorrow Coalition, dumping millions of dollars into this campaign, effectively to oust you and support Charlie Hatcher. So they say that it's because of your votes against clean energy. There isn't much out there on this group. Number one, were you surprised at their activities? It feels like this came out of the blue, but we also know that the Democrats have made trying to flip the 5th one of their core goals here in this election.
Well, you know, with redistricting, the 5th is not winnable for Democrats, and so that's them trying to raise money off of the district. The reality is the Democratic Party is broke. They're going to do well just to defend themselves. But, you know, the guy out of California, the billionaire who is funding these attack ads against me, about $2.2 million worth. You know, he gave $10-15 million to Kamala Harris, but he was making millions and millions of dollars off of government subsidies. And that's not the role of government, to give California billionaires, as in Bravo, billionaires, millions and dollars of subsidies. And so I was one of those that led the charge to have those subsidies taken away because he didn't need them. He didn't deserve them. You know, we should be supporting our veterans. We still have veterans killing themselves at a rate of 20 to 22 a day. We have third graders that can't read and write. Like, that's who we should be supporting, not some libtard in California who's a billionaire. And so he literally, in their own words, you know, target me as public enemy number one, and to set an example that Republicans shouldn't vote conservative.
Well, and you know, I one of the things that I've said is that you're defined partly by who your enemies are, and it sounds like that's a pretty good enemy to have if you're a conservative.
Right. Absolutely. Again, you know, they literally are trying to make an example out of me to strike fear in other Republicans, which is why if they prevail, this will have a chilling effect to the conservatives in Congress. And so I would say, you know, go vote Ogles, because this election is consequential. And if you want a conservative, I have the track record to prove it.
We all know the district has been redrawn. The 5th has taken on a more rural nature. Has that been a challenge for you to try and reach, you know, as a working member of Congress, obviously, have you been able to reach all of the regions you wanted to reach in the 5th?
Yeah, you know, we've been in every county, but it has been a challenge, and quite frankly, those who pay the price for it are my family, because, you know, in June and July, those were heavy days in D.C., and that we were traveling to D.C. a lot, and then I would immediately come home and be in the district versus being at home with the family. And so, but it was a challenge. We made it to all the counties at least twice, and, you know, it is a beautiful district. So if you've not seen the map, it includes the suburbs of south of Nashville, Fort Campbell, Reelfoot Lake, and then the west side of Memphis. And so there's this giant, you know, arch around the West Tennessee that includes the 5th now. But, you know, I love that part of the state. It's beautiful. My great-grandfather's actually buried up in Obion County. He died up there working near the river, and they didn't have the money to send him home. And so I have roots that direction. But at the end of the day, I am a proven conservative. During COVID, I refused to comply with the mandates. I kept Murray County open. I traveled the state educating other county executives that they didn't have the right to take freedom and liberty away from their constituents. And now, as a member of Congress, I'm one of the most conservative members of Congress. I'm on the board of directors for the Freedom Caucus. Why? Because I am a true conservative with a proven track record.
I'm going to go ahead. Usually I give somebody 60 seconds to give your final elevator pitch. I feel like that was it. So I do have, you broke some news, actually. I think this was last night. I'm going to play some audio. This was you. I believe that you were on with Benny Johnson, and you were calling for John Thune to step down.
83% of Americans want the Save America Act. There are no excuses. There are no places to hide. Do your dadgum job or get out of the way.
So we are going to cover a couple of news notes with Congressman Andy Ogles coming up next. Time to check the roads real quick on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Mostly cloudy today, high of 93, going to feel like 101, and possible thunderstorms this afternoon. Congressman Andy Ogles joining us here on this primary election day in Tennessee. So last night, as we cover a couple of news notes, you last night calling for John Thune, of course, a majority leader in the Senate, to step down for his failure to get the Save America Act to a vote. Talk about that and talk about your reasoning.
Well, I mean, if you've been following Pennsylvania, for example, and the work of Scott Pressler, where they've been uncovering the fraud and the fake voters on the voter roll and the purges that have been required to take place, we know the Democrats are lying, they're cheating, they're trying to steal elections, whether it's at the local level or even higher at the congressional level. And so to not secure our elections is really a failure to secure the future of this country. And again, just look at the data. So a CNN poll, so CNN's not the stalwart or bastion of conservatism, but 83% of Americans, that's Republicans, Democrats, Independents, black, white, brown, yellow, across the board want the Save America Act. In the House, we've passed it 3 different times, 3 different versions, and yet the Senate won't do their job. And so they have an obligation. The American people have told them and given them a mandate to do it. So I'm good friends with Mike Lee. Mike Lee's also endorsed me, and we were on the phone, and he's frustrated that John Thune won't put it on the floor. And if Mike Lee, quite frankly, was the majority leader, he would. And there's other senators that would. And so there are no excuses. So if he's not willing to do it, if he's not willing to put it on the floor, he needs to step aside. Nice guy. He needs to step aside and let Mike Lee or someone else do the job, because the future of our country, our elections, is quite frankly at stake.
Earlier this week, Congressman, you actually filed an article of impeachment against a federal judge in Massachusetts for ordering a stay of President Trump's efforts to end the temporary protected status for Somalis. We all know, Congressman, you and I have spoken about this before. We know that these federal judges, they are a problem, clearly. Where does that article of impeachment go from here?
Well, it would have to pass out of the House, simple majority. It would have to go to the Senate 2/3. Now, the reality is the Senate isn't going to do anything. They can't even pass the Save America Act. But I don't work for the Senate. I work for the American people. And this judge is out of control, violating the state or federal law, and in violation of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court just ruled that the president has the full jurisdiction and authority to end TPS, the temporary protected status, and yet she's ruling against the Supreme Court. Our founding fathers warned us against the judiciary that was too powerful. So the reason that you issue or put in those articles of impeachment is you can lay out the case as to why and how she's violating the law or her oath of office, and we can put it on record. And so if there is, I have several articles of impeachment, Brandon Gill does as well. If there was one that should move forward, it should be this one against Judge Burroughs, because she's literally in defiance of federal law and the Supreme Court.
Congressman, in our final couple of minutes, you are running obviously for re-election. That is what we're talking about right now. What goals do you have if you are re-elected for a couple of years? What are your goals for your next term?
Well, obviously, if the Senate does not pass the Save America Act, I'll work with the Speaker. He's a good friend of mine. We'll repass that, authorize that in the House, and then we'll fight to get it through the Senate. So that's one, and it's critical for our next election, our presidential, that will be here in a few years. But then I'm chairman of cyber and infrastructure protection, which includes AI, and we're seeing these critical AI breaches around the country, some of these companies. And so I'm charged with figuring out a framework that helps us compete and beat China in the AI race, yet keeping Americans safe from what really could be weaponized against them. So, as a freshman in Congress, I offered more legislation and amendments than any other freshman in history. As a freshman, I passed more legislation and amendments than any other freshman in history, which is why I was given the chairmanship of this very important subcommittee. And in the few months that I've been chairman, we've had more hearings on the issue of cyber and cybersecurity than the committee had in the last several years. And so there's a lot of work to be done. And quite frankly, that consumes a lot of my time as I race to create these guardrails and these protections when it comes to AI.
I know that we've got the story the last couple of days, 12 states facing cyber attacks on their water systems.
That's right.
How worried are you, just as we wrap this up, how worried are you that, we could go from water systems to power grids?
That's right. So as chairman of a critical subcommittee, one of the most important subcommittees of Congress, I get classified briefings that most members of Congress don't get. And so I'm down in a skiff, down in a hole in a basement, a secure room, and it's China, where they're attacking us, they're probing our water systems, they're probing our electrical grids. And the ones that you just read about are the ones that have been made public. It happens day in and day out, where I literally could spend an entire day, every day, just reading through all of the attacks from China on our critical infrastructure. And so we're in another Cold War, if you will, with China. They're looking for ways and opportunities to weaken our infrastructure. And so that's the balance that I have as chairman of cyber, is how do we protect America? and our critical infrastructure, because they also attack hospitals. Think about that for a minute. So just as they're attacking water systems, they attack hospitals day in and day out, looking for those opportunities. And if they needed to attack in the future, how would they do it?
All right, Congressman, remind me, what is the website so people can check out your campaign site?
You can just go to andyogles.com. I'm easy to find. I'm all over social media. And look, it has been an honor to serve these 2 terms in Congress. It was an honor to serve and, quite frankly, fight for Tennesseans as mayor, as I refused to shut anything down for COVID. And so I humbly ask for your vote in another term in Congress. God bless you all.
All right, Andy, thank you very much. Congressman Andy Ogles there on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And as I said at the beginning of the radio program today, and I've mentioned it a couple of times, the 5th congressional race, one of the most contested here in the state. Charlie Hatcher is running against Congressman Ogles, and he will be joining us at 6:35 here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Bad news, Joan, though, with Charlie Hatcher is it is a phone interview, so we will not be getting any of that wonderful chocolate milk that caused so much controversy here at the radio station the last time that he was here in studio. But looking forward to speaking to Charlie at 6:35. Got a lot of great things that I want to speak to him about related to his campaign. All right, it is 6:22 on Super Talk 99.7. By the way, if you're just joining us at 7:05, between 7:05 and 8:35, we've got all the gubernatorial candidates on. We've got Senator Marsha Blackburn, 7:05. John Rose is 7:35. 8:05 is Monty Fritz. And then I will probably go 2 or 3 weeks without having any interviews on my show. But I love the fact that everybody is willing to, come on the morning show and have a chat and talk about their campaign, what they want to do, what they want to defend, and what is next for them. So looking forward to speaking to Charlie Hatcher, Marsha Blackburn, John Rose, and Monty Fritz in the hours ahead. Coming up in the minutes ahead, it's Joan Jones with the news at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, there is breaking news, a breach of voter rolls in Maricopa County before the 2020 election. It's just been unveiled. We've got the story coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.623 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. One of your biggest priorities in life is to protect your family. And if the power goes out in your neighborhood, you need to get it back on, and you need to get it back on quickly. You need the Generator Supercenter. You've seen the horror stories of power being out for days or weeks at a time. The Generator Supercenter does provide backup home standby generators at a terrific price and outstanding customer service. As a matter of fact, go to their website right now, find out how you can save $500. Tell them Dan Mandis sent you to Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com and see how you can get started. Now, they do feature turnkey installation, certified plumbers and electricians, and service after the install, and a whole lot more. So, the power goes out in your neighborhood, you've got a backup power generator ready to go, so your power comes right back on at the Generator Supercenter. They also have their generators made right here in America. So call them. Again, tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-879-1952. 615-879-1952. Don't forget to check out their website, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com, and see how you can save $500. .625 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you've got a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to, but you can still get cash out of your home with Loan Pronto and their zero-cost equity loan. Now, with Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. That's right. Now, one local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 every single month. But wait, there's more. Yeah, it does get better. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, and no long drawn out process, and no closing costs. You may even be able to skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto right now, leave your low rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com is the website, LoanPronto.com. See how much you can get right now. Call them, 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got your forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Tennessee Highway Patrol is searching for a man who ran away from troopers during a traffic stop in Benton County yesterday. His name is Jeffrey Penix. He's 51 years old. Troopers say he fled from officers into a wooded area. Now, I have retweeted THP's post so you can see a photo of that man and then contact police if you know his whereabouts. You can find me at Joan Jones WTN on X. New debate over a new surveillance system being used by police and allegations that some officers are misusing that technology. A now former North Carolina police officer is facing charges that accuse her of using her department's controversial license plate cameras made by Flock Safety to track her boyfriend's ex-wife.
Investigators say Elizabeth Snowman accessed to the department's Flock camera system dozens of times for personal use. Flock cameras automatically scan every license plate that passes, logging the vehicle, the time, and the location into a searchable database that police can use to track vehicles.
ABC's Sophie Flay there. Flock Safety says it now has about 120,000 cameras installed across the U.S. A hacker broke into the Maricopa County, Arizona election data computers in 2020 and obtained 633,000 voter registration files. Just the News is reporting this today. They say even though they know who the man is, the Biden Justice Department refused to bring charges, even after the FBI got that suspect to confess. The documents have been declassified. They've been made public by the White House as of last night. Prosecutors say they closed that case because there were no charges brought in 2023. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a problem this morning on Harding Place at Antioch Pike. That's a crash, and it's holding up traffic getting off of 24 onto Harding Place. Also, Clarksville, 24 eastbound past Rossview Road. Watch for a crash there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, before we get to Charlie Hatcher,
yes,
CNN is pearl clutching. So apparently Donald Trump said that Abdul El-Sayed is full of shh.
Oh, yeah.
And CNN is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe first of all, the president is a truth teller when it comes to Abdul El-Sayed because the dude is full of crap. That's number one. And number two, just very quickly, have you seen the odds of El-Sayed actually winning in Michigan?
No.
Now that people are focused in,
Yeah.
they're seeing what dude actually stands for. And his the odds of him actually winning the election are just nosediving. So
Also, he's gotten the endorsement today from Chuck Schumer. He's called for Chuck Schumer's job to be erased, eliminated. He wants Chuck Schumer out.
Well,
you talk about
Chuck Schumer's Jewish.
Well, there's that.
All right, moving right along, because I want to say hello to
suicidal empathy. Sorry.
Yes, you're right, Joan. Suicidal empathy, absolutely. Charlie Hatcher, farmer.
Good morning.
Hey, Charlie, how are you? I want to just make sure I introduce you appropriately. Farmer, led the Department of Agriculture under Bill Lee, state veterinarian for 10 years. Runs the Hatcher family dairy and the best chocolate milk that I've ever tasted. Charlie, how are you?
I'm excellent this morning.
All right. So, Pete, you were on this program before a while back, and you are running against Andy Ogles in the primary for the 5th Congressional District. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for you, I bet. But first of all, let me just, I want to retrace a little bit what you and I spoke about way back when. Why did you decide to run for the 5th in the first place?
Well, I had been asked to run for the old 5th for a number of years against Andy Ogles, and it wasn't the right time. I entered my last year of being Commissioner of Agriculture. I thought if I was going to do it, I should do it now. I prayed about it, talked about it with the family, and the doors didn't close. They kept opening, so here I am.
So you've been in the news lately with Governor Lee endorsing you. Of course, you were, as I just mentioned, a part of his administration. You also had a personal relationship with the governor as well. Number one, were you surprised at that endorsement? And number two, talk about that relationship.
Well, we've been friends for over 25 years on professional level as a veterinarian and a close friend. Pretty tight spiritually. He's been a mentor of mine for this run and helped me along the way. I was not surprised. It was just it's all about politics and timing, and we got that endorsement, and I think it's going to put us over the finish line.
Do you consider yourself a politician? I mean, you have worked in politics as a state veterinarian. I don't know if you would consider that a political job. You did lead the Department of Agriculture under Bill Lee. That I think would be a political job. But do you consider yourself a politician?
I do not. I don't know what the definition is. I consider myself a political outsider. But like, for instance, with in Governor Lee's administration, I mean, he was the leader and the rudder of the ship. And he set the policy and the roadmap, and then the Ag and Forestry or Tennessee Department of Agriculture was in support of that, and it all lined up. And he gave me the flexibility to stay within those guardrails, and we had a great run. and agriculture and forestry was a big part of that in the rural economic development, and it's the number one industry in the state, and we want to keep it that way.
Charlie Hatcher is running against Andy Ogles in the primary for the 5th Congressional District, and I just had Congressman Ogles on. One of the things that you and your supporters, just staying with that discussion about being a farmer, your supporters and you have said that as a farmer, you relate to the challenges of what farmers are going through, and there are plenty of them these days, but there are still some larger communities in the 5th as well. So what have been their concerns, and if elected to the 5th, how will you be able to meet those challenges?
Well, the biggest concerns on all constituents, whether it's a farmer or the other constituents, is the cost of living and cost of production, and that's squeezing everybody. The average, grocery prices are high, fuel prices are high, childcare is high. So many people are working 2 or 3 jobs, still can't make ends meet. Farming's the same way. The cost of fertilizer, the cost of diesel. It's a pretty tough time for most people. We have to begin to lower energy prices. We have to begin to lower inflation, and those are going to go hand in hand. And if we can start to do that, we can start to bring costs under control. As
you describe yourself, as a political outsider, has it been frustrating for you to watch what has been going on in what I would describe as a very dysfunctional Washington, D.C.? And do you think that you could somehow, as one man, change that dysfunction?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. That's been one of my major frustrations. It seems like if you could take a half a bit of common sense, which apparently there's not much in D.C., and pair that with work ethic and the ability to get the job done, and then serving others. That was my motto when I was Commissioner of Agriculture. More things would get done. It's virtually gridlock in D.C., and the Congress has not done very much in the last several years, except manage to get the government shut down.
A lot was made, Charlie Hatcher joining us, a lot was made of this group, Invest in Tomorrow, putting in a total of $2 million to, number one, oust Andy Ogles, and then $700,000 additionally to back your candidacy and, again, try to get rid of Andy Ogles here in the primary. They said that they're going after him because of his anti-clean energy votes. So let me ask you this. This is a group that is not affiliated with you. It's a super PAC. But as a farmer and a potential congressman, let me ask you this. Number one, do you have any comment on that? And number two, what would your clean energy policies be?
Well, and you already said this, and some people don't really understand it, but a super PAC, the candidate can have no collaboration with the PAC, and I don't even know who they are. As far as energy, my main goal would be for America to be energy independent, and to me that means all forms of energy that make sense, not those that don't make sense. I mean, solar energy, for instance. I don't dislike it, but it needs to be put on rooftops and not on productive farmland. And that's my opinion. But we need all forms of energy, and agriculture and forestry can be part of the solution. We can do biofuels and biomass and those kind of things from agriculture and forestry can contribute to that, even with byproducts that aren't useful for much else other than energy production. So it's going to take all of it. Tennessee leads in nuclear energy, or is leading in nuclear energy. We're a couple of years away from that. But that's going to probably be the most important form of energy, but it's going to take all those others energy possibilities to make us energy independent, and ag and forestry could be part of that.
More with Charlie Hatcher coming up next. It is 6:45, 15 seconds for traffic on WTN. far as your weather goes, mostly cloudy, a high of 93, going to feel like 101. Possible thunderstorms this afternoon as well. Just a story that we're following. According to CNN, I'm sure Joan has been looking at the same thing on CNN. Iran nearing final deal with Oman on Strait of Hormuz shipping, although they do say that the Strait of Hormuz would not be opened immediately. So there might be a deal in play. There might not be a deal in play. I did talk about this earlier in the program. Yesterday, one of the leaders, if not the leader of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, came out and said, listen, Trump can say whatever he wants, but the bottom line is if Israel and the U.S. have nukes, then we will continue, and that word is important, we will continue to work on our nuclear program as well. And so there's a lot of things up in the air related to Iran. Charlie Hatcher is joining us. He is running for the 5th in the primary against Andy Ogles. Charlie, let me ask you, one of the, as a farmer, one of the main priorities of the Trump administration has been mass deportation. That is a tough one for farmers because they will tell you about their labor shortage and that this will raise costs as well. How do you, as a member of Congress, balance those two competing ideas?
Well, that's a tough one, but the fact is that agriculture needs seasonal workers. There's legal ways to do that. H-2A program is one of those. It needs to be improved. It's very expensive. It takes there's a deficiency. There's more ag workers needed than are available through the H-2A program. So we need to improve that and make it more efficient. But I'm totally for only legal ways of coming in, but they need to be improved.
Would you say that our legal immigration system needs to be fixed? Because it's a mess.
Absolutely, yes.
A lot have been made of the Democrats possibly taking back the House, and they're putting a lot of money to try and flip the 5th. Columbia Mayor Chaz Mulder is expected to win the Democrat primary for the 5th. Have you, at this point, even looked beyond this primary into the general? They're spending a lot of money. What are your thoughts on what a race between you and Chaz would look like?
Well, I don't. A good farmer doesn't count his chickens before they're hatched, and that's me. But if I think about that a little bit, I think if I'm blessed enough to win this election, I think the Democrats are going to have a hard time trying to secure Tennessee's 5th district. And a lot of political experts think if Andy Ogles wins this primary, then game is on, and the Democrats are going to come in full force.
If elected, what would your main priorities be? This is, you got 60 seconds. You've got the floor. Talk about what your main priorities would be, and talk about why people should vote for you.
Okay, so that's my main priorities is what I'm hearing all across the district. First would be cost of living, cost of production. We've already talked a little bit about that. We've got to get energy prices down, get inflation under control, step one. Number two is infrastructure. Hear a lot about water, wastewater, roads, bridges, energy, etc. So that's the second priority. Then above and beyond all that, on the long-term basis, would be the federal government, reducing regulations, trying to get the budget balanced, trying to get our debt under control, waste, fraud, and abuse. Waste, fraud, and abuse alone, if we could get that under control, we might be able to balance the budget. And then the last one that was in my wheelhouse would be food security as national security. I would take my lifetime of experience and work and record of getting the job done. Part of that was my veterinary skills, problem solving, so you'd have the common sense, the problem solving, the record of getting things done and serving others would be the foundation of how I would represent Tennessee's 5th. And not only would I vote very conservatively, it would be my goal to provide excellent constituent services. And that's one of the things that I do not think is going on right now.
Charlie,
that's my pitch.
It's a good pitch. One of our listeners, 0651, is asking about the national debt and whether or not you would. And this is a tough one. Are you willing to make a pledge to never vote for a budget that is not balanced? Ultimately, the question is, what can we do about our national debt?
Yeah, well, I don't think you can balance it overnight. I would be for a plan. You have to start somewhere. Is it 5 years, 10 or 15 or 20 to begin that process? So I would try to get to DC, try to build relationships, try to get like-minded people to think like I do, and get a movement toward balancing the budget. And that would be a top priority for me.
All right, Charlie, what is the website for your candidacy? And we'll let you go.
It's charliehatcher.com. I'm asking for your vote and your support. It's going to be a hot one today, but come out. I'm going to be at as many polls as I can get to, and I'll be there until the last vote's cast.
All right, Charlie, good luck to you. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again to you, one of the things that I love about the primaries is that I get to meet great conservatives like you. You were in here about a month and a half or so ago. You're a great guy, and I do wish you all the best of luck.
Well, thank you. Nobody more conservative than a dairy farmer, I promise you.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And it is 6:52 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I really do, Joan. I've enjoyed the process of, there have been some positives and some negatives about going through this process. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed is meeting people like, Charlie Hatcher and John Henry and others. I don't know who's going to win in any of these races. But
I love how down to earth he seems.
Yeah, he's down to earth. Yep. Well, he's not a politician, as he said. He considers himself anyway a political outsider. But, meeting some of these folks, it is an honor to meet so many great conservatives. And we have a lot of them here in Middle Tennessee and in Tennessee. So good luck to Charlie Hatcher. Coming up at 7:05, it is going to be really for the next 90 minutes, it's going to be the gubernatorial candidates. We've got Senator Marsha Blackburn coming up at 7:05, 7:35 John Rose, 8:05 Monty Fritz. And by the way, with Senator Blackburn and John Rose, we'll also be asking them some questions about, the positions they hold right now regarding the Senate and also Congress, because the House of Representatives, because there's a lot of things going on that I feel like I need to ask them as well regarding what is happening, not related to the election, but just what is happening in the news today. So, busy day ahead. 6:53 on Super Talk 99.7. By the way, we did do a Daily Dan poll, and the Daily Dan poll question was, because Joan and I earlier, we were talking about how many people have early voted. That was part of a discussion yesterday on the radio program, and a poll came out and said a lot of people had actually early voted. So we asked on the Daily Dan poll, did you early vote? How did we frame the question, and what are the people saying?
Did you vote early? 58% say no, they did not.
Okay, so hopefully they're going to go out and vote today. And by the way, if you watch us on YouTube, do us a favor, throw us a solid like and subscribe. Joan's got the news at 7. Joan.
Yeah, we'll tell you about the one Tennessee congressional candidate who spent yesterday in a courtroom for what he did with a shotgun. That story coming up at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find it. Okay. Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little further from the house there. Okay. Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls, causing issues, settlement, or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, I watched you do it. It's, about 30, 45 minutes, something like that. Yeah. To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt, we appreciate you.
.659 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to say this, Joan. Prayers continued for Brian Wilson and his family. His sister passed away unexpectedly. Yeah. This was, I don't know, about a week ago maybe. And very sad. And Brian, I talked to him shortly after he found out. And it was like he just got hit, the side of the head with a brick. I mean, it was just shocking.
So out of the blue.
And Gwen, I met her a few times. I don't know if you ever met Gwen.
I've met her a couple times at, at Christmas time.
Yeah,
and spent some time with her. Love her.
Yeah, I mean, she was so great. So, I mean, I don't know. Prayers for Brian.
Yes.
This hit him really hard. And, when your friends heard you hurt, I don't know if that, yeah. I know that you feel that way too, Joan. So prayers for Brian and his family, Brian's sister Gwen, passing away incredibly unexpectedly at the age of 66. And so I think Brian will probably be back to do the Wednesdays with Wilson segment. We did not do it last Wednesday, yesterday, because that was the day of Gwen's funeral, of course, and I don't think Brian is in any shape really to do that. So hopefully he'll be back with us next week. But again, we'll welcome back Brian with open arms when he does come back to Tennessee. I think he's still in Texas with the funeral. All right, it is 7 o'clock. More straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, your forecast, and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. It is election 2026 today, of course, primary election day. Channel 4 Stacey Cameron breaks down what he's learned about early voting in the state of Tennessee.
Early voting has exploded since the last primary, but the surge isn't in rural areas. It's in the Nashville suburbs. Republican early turnout is up 80% in Wilson County, 41% in Williamson, and 37% in Rutherford. But meanwhile, rural Murray County, Hatcher's home turf, is up just 6%.
Now, in the redrawn 5th Congressional District, Channel 4 says that polls show a dead heat, making turnout today critical. So even though President Trump has backed Andy Ogles, what Stacey Cameron was talking about there, outside groups poured millions of dollars to boost Charlie Hatcher's campaign. One Tennessee congressional candidate spent yesterday in a courtroom.
Accused of shooting license plate cameras. Investigators say Adam Heimerman shot 4 of those cameras in Blount County last month.
Yeah, that's Danielle Ledbetter at Channel 4. Adam Heimerman is running as an independent candidate for the 2nd Congressional District against incumbent Tim Burchett. Heimerman is facing 4 felony counts of vandalism for shooting those flock cameras with his shotgun. Meantime, the city of Laverne is considering adding speed cameras in school zones. Council members there working with the company called Blue Line Solutions. They say the city would not have to pay for the cameras, but they're not saying who will pay for them. Police would monitor the cameras and issue the tickets. Democrats in the state chose in Michigan, have chosen progressive candidate Abdullah Sayed, some call a communist, over moderate Representative Haley Stevens, despite a large difference in spending in their campaigns, including from Jewish organizations who largely put their support, of course, behind Stevens.
There are many Jews in the Democratic Party who El Sayed already had in his camp. Many American Jews find themselves aligned with progressivism and share El Sayed's views on Gaza. But supporters of Israel pumped tens of millions of dollars into this race in an effort to elect Haley Stevens. In that respect, El Sayed described himself as a David in a battle against Goliath.
That is ABC's Stephen Portnoy. This is the day that the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee takes a vote on whether to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress. But also in the news, the Florida Attorney General has issued a subpoena to former COVID czar Anthony Fauci for records tied to grant money, awards, and book deals, among other areas of investigation. Louisiana and West Virginia also joining Florida's investigation now. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures mostly up. The Dow futures plus 54 right now, but the NASDAQ futures falling a bit after another good day on Wall Street yesterday. And a check of Brent oil, it's trading right now at $80.56 a barrel. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, you've got an accident on 24 westbound side in Antioch. It's before Hickory Hollow Parkway, and it's causing a backup there on the roadway. Also, Clarksville on 24 eastbound side past Rossview Road. There's a crash in the left lane. And Hermitage 40 West at the Davidson-Wilson County line. A crash takes out the right lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in. It is primary election day across the great state of Tennessee. I want to welcome on into the program Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, always great to have you on the program. Of course, everyone knows you are running for governor, and I just want to find out, first question out of the box, how are you feeling today?
We feel great. We finished yesterday in Mountain City with a huge crowd. And today we are starting the day in Memphis, and we'll be working our way east. We'll end up in Knoxville for our victory celebration tonight.
So that is a lot of stops, I'm assuming, along the way. So there's a lot of issues here, Senator, in the state of Tennessee that you have campaigned on. Nuclear energy, data centers, of course, the economy as well. When you were here in studio, we talked about education, illegal immigration. What would you say has been the top issue that Tennesseans have been talking to you about?
I will give you the top three. There's a lot of conversation around having a strong economy, and Tennesseans want to see great jobs for their kids and their grandkids, and they want that strong economy. They're concerned about public safety, want to make certain we continue to deport illegal aliens. They are also talking a lot about educational opportunity and being certain that their kids and grandkids are equipped for the future. And, you know, Dan, the other thing I will have to say, there is we've had a lot of great conversations. People know that I'm the one who is best prepared to lead our state. And with the firm foundation, the strong General Assembly, the strong governors that we have had, our state really needs a leader. And as we have worked with people, they talk a lot about having a governor who is prepared to lead, that knows the legislature, that understands that it is a team sport from your local, state, federal level to be certain that we serve Tennessee well and that Tennessee is prepared to lead as far as our country goes, whether it is in education or healthcare or nuclear, nuclear energy generation or deregulation, permitting. So we've heard quite a bit from one end of the state to the other.
One of the things, and last time you were on, we talked about some of the most important statewide issues. I'm not going to, rediscuss the things that we spoke about last time. There was a story a couple of weeks ago that I wanted to ask you about, though. Tennessee is in the running to bring in $50 billion to create this nuclear life cycle innovation campus. Governor Lee was, of course, part of this. Part of that would be accepting nuclear waste and producing nuclear fuel, enriching uranium and the like. So, Senator Marsha Blackburn, if you were governor, would you see that as a good idea for the state?
What we know is that the Department of Energy is looking for a place to house this Manhattan Project 2.0. This is something that they are working on with the state. What we also know is that generating more nuclear power, baseload power, is going to be necessary for our economy. Now, when it comes to having a life cycle campus of this nature, you've got to be sure it's going to be safe and it's going to be something that the communities want. And when it comes to issues on data centers and things of this nature, much of that is going to be community decisions. And I know that there are 5 states that have spoken with the Department of Energy and are discussing the suitability for a nuclear fuels life cycle campus. And I am one of those that is looking forward to getting more information about this every single day. We want to make certain when it comes to nuclear power and building these small modular reactors that this is something that Tennessee has the opportunity to be the nation's leader when it comes to innovation for advanced energy.
7:12 on Nashville's Morning News. Senator Marsha Blackburn is joining us. You know, it's interesting, Senator, you were talking about the economy. One of the things that does separate you from your opponents is, and I'm just going to use the Starbucks deal as an example. You like the Starbucks deal, and you know, it depends on the deal. But one of the things that I find fascinating is you'll have people that will complain that there's not enough jobs in Tennessee, but they won't want to bring in these outside businesses that could create those jobs. And so when we talk about those opportunities for the state of Tennessee, last time you were in studio, you spoke a little bit about your process in how to decide what deal is a good deal for the state of Tennessee as far as incentives go and that kind of a thing. Can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Sure, absolutely. You want to look at these one at a time. And what is the return going to be? How many jobs is it going to be? What is the payroll going to be? What do you expect the revenues that are going to be generated for the state's tax base from that payroll that people are actually going to be making? Those are dollars. And as you talk to anyone that is working in our communities, and we have great economic development offices in each and every county in our state. You've got great local chambers that are out there, and they'll talk with you about the number of times a dollar turns over in their community before it leaves the community. And some will tell you it's 3.5 times. Some will tell you it's 4 or 4.5 times. And this helps grow those strong economies. The other thing is you look at many of these companies that have been housed in these big blue states, and Dan, what's the number one thing they say? They say they can't deal with these woke policies, and they can't deal with some of the tax structures in these states. And I like to say a lot of these companies have gotten religion, and now they realize they cannot operate in those states, and they are looking to move. Tennessee, no state income tax. Thanks for the fight that I led to kill that years ago. We are state income tax free. After November, we will confirm that there will never be a property tax in Tennessee. We are a right-to-work state. We have good, strong communities that have great credit ratings, that are well-led by good mayors, and good county commissions that are out there looking to provide jobs and services for those individuals that live in their counties and communities. And it is an honor to work with them. And they know that it takes a team in order to do this, and it takes everybody pulling the same direction. So you work with people. This is why I continue to say our state does not need a manager. Our state needs a leader that knows how to build that team and how to get things across the finish line that are going to improve the quality of life for each and every Tennessean. I want our state to be known as the great state of opportunities where people can come and our kids can come and live out their version of the American dream and not have to go somewhere else to find a job and make that happen.
More with Senator Marsha Blackburn. She wants to be your next governor on this primary election day. Coming up, it is 7:15. Time to check the roads real quick on WTN. As far as weather goes, mostly cloudy, a high of 93 today. Going to feel like 101. Possible thunderstorms as well this afternoon. Senator Marsha Blackburn joining us. Senator, you've advocated for closing primaries here in the state of Tennessee, meaning that Tennesseans would have to register with a party and vote in that party's primary. For you, is it a matter of election integrity?
It is. And one of the things that Tennesseans have talked with us about all along the process, Dan, and as you know, a year ago today, I kicked off my campaign. And one of the things they've said, primaries should be the Republican primary for Republicans, the Democrat primary for Democrats, and then move to the general election. And they want to see our primaries closed. And yes, this is something I've advocated for. Tennessee is known as the number one state when it comes to election integrity. That is great for us. We wish every state was like we were when it comes to having safe, secure elections. We want Election Day to be Election Day. And then we want to make certain that Republican primaries are for Republicans. They select their nominee. And you don't have Democrats sending out Facebook messages or posts and saying, we want you to go vote in this primary, in the Republican primary, and vote for so-and-so because we think they're easier to beat in November. That's the type thing that is not appropriate, and we have heard from our Republicans that they want to close the primaries.
Senator, unlike many other senators, you've actually called for the elimination of the filibuster related to the SAVE Act, going on to some Senate business here. Knowing what you know, do you believe that John Thune, the leader of the Senate, does he have the votes to actually eliminate the filibuster? And is there any opportunity for the SAVE Act to actually be passed?
We have a measure that will be before the Senate on Friday, and it is another bill that we have the voter ID provision on that bill. And we're going to try it that way. It is the bill that would ban stock trading for members of Congress, which is something I do not do. And it is so unseemly to me that you do have members of the House and the Senate that actually trade stocks. And we have access to so much information. I think it's inappropriate, and that is something I have never done. But we finally are moving to ban stock trading for members and their spouses. So I think that's an appropriate move, putting voter ID, which, Dan, as I have said repeatedly, this is an issue that 85% of the American people agree with, so let's pass it. The only Democrats that are opposed to it are Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats in Washington, D.C. They want to make it easier to cheat. And we have committed to getting this passed. I'm one of those, so is Senator Haggerty, that has said we would stay there until we could get it passed. If we can get this one measure through, then of course the House would have to come back and concur. And that we need to get this to President Trump's desk, and we need to do it now.
Has there been a lot of behind-the-scenes wrangling? There's a lot of frustration with John Thune for not bringing it up to a vote. Behind the scenes, has there been a lot of senators such as yourself, knocking on his door and saying, can we get this up for at least a vote to get everybody on the record?
We have continued every single week. As you know, one of my proposals was let's break it apart and do one piece at a time and start with the voter ID. Then you have to be a citizen. The third tranche is my election Security Partnership Act, which would incentivize states for doing the right thing, just, abide by the law. Yeah. And so we've had it up, I think it is 5 different times. There have been provisions, and that have been on the floor of the Senate. It has not prevailed. And so this is why we are now looking at breaking it apart. I think that's a smart way to do it. whatever we can get the votes to proceed, and then the 51 votes for passage. I am all in, and I will stay there until we get this done.
Senator, your opponents have made this past review by the Senate Ethics Committee a point of attack. The accusation was that you'd used Senate staff on the campaign trail. There's been a lot of some media outlets also talking about this. Can you comment on the investigation and give your side of the story?
Sure, be happy to. There was a politically motivated complaint that was made. We wanted to make sure it was investigated. They investigated nothing. No disciplinary action.
And you cooperated with the investigation?
Oh, of course.
All right, very good. You've got 60 seconds. I know we're running out of time. You've got 60 seconds for your elevator pitch. Go.
I am the best qualified person to lead our state. And just as we did that transition and made a reset after the state income tax battle, we became a powerhouse, the place that everybody wants to be. We have proven that low taxes, light regulation, pro-family, pro-life policies, this is what people want. We need a leader to take our state to the next level. We've got this firm foundation. I think now is the time for Tennessee to soar. Our best days are ahead of us. I ask for your vote. I'm the right leader for the right time.
Senator, what's your your email address? What is your website so people can check out if they have any questions about your campaign, your issues? Where can people find you online?
They can find me online at MarshaBlackburn.com and on social media at Vote Marsha.
All right, very good. Thank you for joining us here on Nashville's Morning News. Good luck, Senator Marsha Blackburn. And it's a big day, primary election day here on this Thursday, August 6th. It is 7:24. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986. By the way, we do have John Rose coming up at 7:35. 8:05 is going to be Monty Fritz, and it's 7:24 now. It's a lot of time checks. Joan has the news at 7:30. There's another one. Joan, what's coming up?
So coming up here, Tennessee's voting map is all different because of redistricting. How does that affect your vote today? We've got that coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I actually know full well that if you don't listen, he does take it personally. Matt Murphy, that promo is fake news. We all take it personally when you come up to us and you say, yeah, we missed the show today. It really angers us, right, Joan?
Well, it does you. I've seen it personally.
I can always count. Yeah, Joan has seen it in events. Yeah, you know, Dan, I missed your show today. What the heck do you mean you missed my show? How dare you? I do.
How dare you?
That's exactly what I try to do. I try to sound whatever. All right, moving right along. 7:24, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here. For my friends at DT McCall's, they've been helping out Tennesseans for over 100 years. Fair prices, outstanding customer service. Now, right now, they've got great deals on all things electronics and appliances and furniture, lawn and garden, and a whole lot more. I bought a whole bunch of stuff from DT McCall's. They've been saving Middle Tennesseans money for over 100 years, 4 generations of treating people right, with a focus on savings and customer service. Now, the first thing I do when I realize I need something is I do go to dtmccalls.com, check out the latest specials, and typically I'll order right from the website, but if I have to go see it, I go to the brick and mortar stores and they do help me out and answer any questions that I might have. So if you need anything for your home, garage, or your backyard, you only need to go to one place. My place, that is DT McCall's. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online. Please tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out. dtmccalls.com, dtmccalls.com.
Good morning, 7:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and welcome to primary election day. There may be some changes this year for voters because of redistricting. Davidson County Election Administrator John Richardson says that polling locations have not changed with redistricting, but he tells WSMV4 that you may have different names on your ballot.
Making sure that people are confident when they go to vote is important to us here at the Davidson County Election Commission. And that's why we sent out canary yellow voter registration cards to all registered voters in Davidson County so they can know exactly where to vote on Election Day. Please pay close attention to that congressional district number. That'll tell you what district you're now in.
Now, he says one of the most common problems at the polling place is voters who don't bring an ID. You do need one, so bring it with you. Questions can be answered at nashville.gov/vote. Iran has said is saying that it is in the final stages of an agreement with Oman over the Strait of Hormuz. And President Trump said that the deal could be announced this week. NBC News is reporting that deal could potentially reopen the waterway, ease pressure on the world economy, and help to bring an end to the war. The agreement is perhaps contingent on the U.S. lifting its blockade on Iran's ports, but the Trump administration has already ruled out any deal that would cement Iran's grip on that strait. The New Mexico ranch that was once owned by Jeffrey Epstein is now at the center of a lawsuit. New Mexico's Attorney General Raul Torres has sued the DOJ, claiming that it's stonewalling.
Torres accused the Department of Justice of obstructing his office's investigation into the crimes committed at the sprawling ranch Epstein once owned in New Mexico. He says his office requested unredacted Epstein files 10 times to assist their investigation, but the Department of Justice has only turned over a fraction of the requested records. He asked a federal judge in Washington to declare the withholding of records unlawful and force the Department of Justice to provide his office with access to unredacted Epstein files. The DOJ says they're complying with the law and that turning over the records may violate the privacy of victims. Peter Haralamus, ABC News.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
7:33, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Joan, I must admit something.
Yes?
I made a slight error. It's the only one so far today.
So far.
But it's early. I actually have Monty Fritz coming up next, and then John Rose is at 8:06. So Monty is on hold, and we're going to speak to him coming up next on this primary election day. We've had Andy Ogles on, Charlie Hatcher on, as they battle for the 5th. I would say the 5th is probably the most contested district here in the state of Tennessee. And I'm having all three gubernatorial candidates on as well. Just wrapped up with Senator Blackburn. Monty Fritz is next. John Rose at 8:06 on WTN.
Wow, that spot on I-65 just past Bethel Road and White House, that is a trouble area. We have got another crash there, and it's on the right shoulder. That, by the way, is also a tractor trailer involved in that crash. Again, it's 65 southbound just past Bethel Road and White House. Hermitage, 40 westbound at the Davidson-Wilson County line is a crash, and the shoulder, now the right shoulder, is blocked off by it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.738 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In the midst of my gubernatorial interviews. And Joan, just so you know, I've been practicing saying the word gubernatorial for like months.
Just say goober.
Goober, isn't that what Chris said? The goobers?
The goobers.
The goobers?
Yeah, it's a great word.
Do you know what the great thing is? The one person out of the three that are running for the governorship here in the state of Tennessee that actually feel comfortable calling a goober is on the line right now, Monty Fritz. And Monty, I mean that in the most respectful of ways.
Sure he does, Monty.
Monty, how are you?
I'm good, brother. It's okay. I feel like a goober sometimes, so thank you. I appreciate that.
Listen, I play a goober every morning on the radio, so very much appreciate you being here. All right, so what does a Monty Fritz do on primary election day here in the state of Tennessee? What are your big plans for the day?
Get up and give thanks. God has been so gracious. He has traveled us across the state with no issues, no flat tires, no accidents, no run out of fuel. And I've met some of the most wonderful people. You, Joan, Chris, Matt. I mean, just tremendous. Jackson. It feels like family. I appreciate what you all do. And Chad, my goodness, what a great journey this has been. I'm so grateful to God that he would call me to make this run.
Have you counted the miles that you've put on your car?
We have. I don't have a grand total, but it's more than a few hundred.
Oh, I bet. You've been all over the state. And I think I said to you last time, I don't remember. I think I said it to you off the air, but, you've run a great campaign. You came in, I think, and I mean this respectfully, you came in as an underdog. And I believe that you are going to do better than people predicted tonight. And so we'll ultimately see what happens. People know that I'm not recommending anybody. I don't endorse people. That's not what I do. But I do appreciate what you have accomplished in this campaign. Talk about real quickly, what have you learned about politics? I mean, you're a member of the state legislature, but, you're somebody who has gone from the state legislature to running for, the governor of the state of Tennessee. What have you learned about politics? What have you learned about yourself? And what have you learned about the state of Tennessee?
First and foremost, I think God used this whole trip to make me a little bit better person. I feel blessed to have gotten to have done this, and so hopefully I'm going to be a better grandpa, better husband, and a pretty good governor after November. As a result of this, I have learned that there is far too much money in politics, that our voices are often silenced by out-of-state campaigning and acts and all those kinds of things. And I'm open, if the Lord does give us a victory today, and I'm expecting that, I'll be surprised if we don't win. Let's turn this around so that we don't have to spend $25-35 million between a couple candidates in a statewide race. Let's prove to them we can spend just a few $100,000, work hard, and get the message out.
Monty, talk about, because this is basically, for WTN anyway, this is your final pitch to the WTN audience. So talk about, as you have put all those many hundreds of miles on your car, and you've spoken to people in, all across the state, what have been your takeaways and what have been their main concerns?
Property tax reform is big. We've pushed for that in the legislature and will as governor. getting rid of the grocery sales tax, keeping more money in Tennesseans, the state grocery sales tax, keeping more money in Tennesseans' pockets and in their counties, getting rid of the corporate welfare. The whole flock issue and the Fourth Amendment violation is tremendous. We've got to stop that in Tennessee. The data centers have become quite the thing. You know, I've been asking for some time about the artificial intelligence and its connection with the hyperscale data centers. Is it happening to us or for us? And most Tennesseans think it's happening to us. And then lastly, they don't feel like government works for them. Many people across the state, from our West Coast to the Smokies, think that we have people who get into politics and they offer IOUs and empty promises, and they never do what they commit to do, and then they lie about it. There's a disconnectedness there. I want to restore that in Tennessee, to allow people to believe that somebody in Nashville is actually working for their benefit, for the average blue-collar, working-class Tennessean.
Monty, let me ask you, Monty Fritz joining us on Super Talk 99.7. So there does seem to be this, and I can make both sides of the argument effectively, but, you know, I have found it interesting that, you know, on the one hand, you got a lot of folks that want jobs in the state of Tennessee. On the other hand, they don't want to see, as you say, the corporate welfare. You don't want to see these, as you say, the woke companies coming to Tennessee to set up shop here. So I guess is there a conflict between those two ideas, building a job base in the state of Tennessee by bringing companies here and offering those incentives? But the flip side of that is we are bringing in other companies from other states that may not share our values.
Well, I think we've unfortunately, Governor Lee's team has adopted a growth at all cost mentality. It's costing us and our lack of investment in infrastructure because we've sent money to the companies. Let's practice liberty and less government in Tennessee. Let's get our infrastructure healthy, not just the roads, but water, sewage, solid waste, emergency medical provision, our schools. Let's make sure that's healthy. And then industry can come and plug into that effectively, make good profit, provide good jobs. Oftentimes, we've incentivized directly in the periphery of citizenry in Tennessee around a site or a development. They only hurt from it. And, you know, I spoke to a lady out in Ripley a couple months ago, and I said, how has the Ford project helped you? And she said, it's really only caused my rent to go up. And I'm sure there's some other things with that, but lots of Tennesseans feel like they've been left out in these big direct investments in companies and corporations, and they're saying, how about helping all Tennesseans? How about making this a place where companies want to come, and rather than having to be paid to come?
7:45, Monty Fritz is joining us, and got a little bit more with Monty coming up. It's time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, mostly cloudy, a high of 93 today. Going to feel like 101, possible thunderstorms as well this afternoon, and appreciate you being here. Monty Fritz is joining us via phone. You know, Monty, it's interesting because that same concept applies to AI, right? And the data centers, where you have all of these people that love their Chat GPT, they love their AI, they love their, you know, Facebook and all of the things that go along with these data centers and AI, but nobody wants the data centers in their backyard. So this is also one of those things where you have to, as governor, if you're elected, you have to find that balance, right?
Yeah, I've become a harder no on the data centers as I learn more. I read an article yesterday, day before. There's a data center going into Utah that's going to be 44,000 acres. It's going to consume up to 5 million gallons of water per day in Utah. It's going to use more electricity than all of the citizens of Utah, based on what the article said, and many of the surrounding states. That's just not healthy for us. And that's one of those infrastructures that can be in Kentucky or in Indiana, and we can still benefit from it. And you know, I heard one of the other candidates say, well, we've got to store that data here. Well, maybe we're storing too much data. Maybe it would be safer for Tennesseans to buy thumb drives and hard drives and store securely their own information, their photographs, their whatever, not put it on a cloud where it is risk to the Chinese or whomever. And I think we solved some of that problem. I think this whole push to own our data is at detriment to our liberty wherever that information is stored.
Do you have a concern, based on what you just said, do you have a concern that that does give China an advantage when it comes to AI, generally speaking?
Not really. Again, same article. It was a New American article I read yesterday. 43 or 45% of all the data centers, I think there were like 3,600 in the United States. 45% of all of those in the world are already located in the United States. We already have a great lead on them. My concern is more toward this. We are the place that everyone wants to get our information and data. I think that there's probably a healthy approach to going, we're not going to go back to paper. We've already left that. But to go back to hard drive storage so that persons and small companies store their own material is far more secure than on the cloud, because in many cases, those data centers in Utah become the cloud that we think we're sending our stuff to. And, if every transaction, every spoken word, every movement is tracked by a flock camera or our phones, is that good for our liberty? And I say no.
Monty Fritz joining us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, Monty, so I only got a couple of minutes left, so let's do real quick the 60-second elevator pitch. Why should people vote for Monty Fritz?
It's time for a blue-collar working class, Christ is King leader for the state of Tennessee. Someone who will lead in service to all Tennesseans. Someone who understands the nuclear supply chain better than any other candidate available, to lead us into a nuclear renaissance because we are thirsty for those kilowatts. Someone who has stood up for our Second Amendment right, for traditional marriage, for small budgets, against the illegal immigration, who has a documented record of legislating for those things. In some cases, have led the nation. In geoengineering, we stood up. In calling Tennessee to a month of fasting and prayer, seeking God's healing hand, we've led. We have not sat by, offered excuses and IOUs. We have led. Sometimes to the frustration and agitation of some of my colleagues, but we've got lots of that stuff passed. And I'm ready to make Tennessee lead the entire nation in good things. Sometimes we lead in categories we don't want to lead in. Let's invest in Tennessee. Let's be Tennessee first, American sovereign and citizen only.
Monty, how can people find out more information on your campaign, your policies and so forth? What's your website?
If you go to the website at Fritz, Fritts, the number 4, TN.com, FritzForTN.com, you'll see our top 10 and you'll see a quick video and all of those. If you spend 20 minutes on our YouTube or on that site, you can get the words from my mouth, not something that someone sent out in a useless, meaningless mailer, but the words from my mouth as to how we intend to serve the people in the state of Tennessee.
Those mailers have been out of control, Monty, I've got to say. Or, what people could also do is you've been on WTN with, I think you've been on with all 4 hosts, right? I know you did that hour long with me, and I think you're on with everybody else too. So we have all of those videos posted on our website, which is 997WTN.com. Monty, I've got one more question for you, and I bet you're going to punt. I don't know if you're going to win I don't know if you're going to win or lose today, but if things don't go your way today, would you consider running again or for something else?
No, sir. I felt called to do this. I was happy to get out of politics. I think career politicians are the bane of our republic and our state. And those people that serve 20 and 30 and 40 years and seek other jobs, I think they're detrimental to our liberty. I would not have ran had I not been called. So I'm in this race because I feel called to do it. whatever happens today, I will. If I win, we've got another big challenge up in November, and then it really gets challenging after inauguration. If I don't win today, I'm going to thank God for the opportunity, the friends I've made, and go back to being a good grandpa and riding motorcycles more, hunting a few animals I hadn't hunted in the past, and maybe writing a little bit.
Would you consider running again? If you were called to do it again, would you consider running again?
My wife says that if we get another call, it's going to have to be like the mini Tekla, where the finger wrote on the wall in the palace.
Yeah.
In Babylon. She said, because this is an arduous journey, so we're going to ask a little more from the Lord in the next call, and if that were the case.
All right, well, very good. Very good, Monty. I appreciate it. I think that you've run a great campaign. I think you're an awesome person. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and regardless as to how this thing ends today, will you keep in touch with me here at WTN and everybody else?
I'd be honored to. I consider y'all friends, and it's like a family thing. So I love you all. I mean that. I love you all. I love what you do. I love the investment that you put into our Tennessee in putting yourself on the lines. I know it's a job, but I also understand some of the intricacies of it and the criticisms you face. So I love what you do. I love you each for doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monty, very much, and good luck tonight. It is 7:54 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986.
Many, Tickle Parson. Love that.
What did you say?
He said it. Many, Tickle Parson.
Yes, got it. Okay.
It's the writing on the wall.
Do you think that he'll run again?
I do not. I mean, before you got it out of your mouth, he was beginning to make an answer. So he knows.
He knew exactly where I was going.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think so.
I'm telling you, here's the tough part for Amani Fritz, right? So one of the things is he abhors the big money in politics, which is true. Nobody's breaking any laws. There's big money in politics. It is what it is. So he abhors big money in politics, but I'm here to tell you, if he had more money, he would be one heck of a candidate, even more than he is right now. He's a great candidate, don't get me wrong. But if he had more money and more, support in that way, and he could afford more advertising and so forth, I think that he would be incredible, because he already ran a great campaign. He really did.
For people that might be slightly confused by Dan's analysis, this is like when the sports analyst is like, if this quarterback had better protection, he's a great quarterback, but if he had better protection up front, he could win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean,
you've seen a ton of campaigns being run and what the efficacy, of them are, and you make a great point.
Yeah, I mean, if he had more money and could afford more advertising and that kind of a thing, I think he's a great candidate. He's got great policies, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Not only that, he loves us.
He did.
He loves us.
Well, at least two of the three of us here are very lovable on the morning show, and we'll just leave it at that.
You did kind of get a little clammed up when he said it.
I did?
Yeah, you're like,
No, I didn't.
Emotions.
I did. Shut up, Sam.
He was about to cry. Are you kidding?
You guys are killing me. You know what? I love
when
the two. I love the two of you when you gang up on the host. Verklempt. That's what happened to me. I got verklempt.
You got verklempt.
All right, I got to go. Joan has got the news. By the way, John Rose joining us at 8:06. You think John Rose will tell us that he loves us? Marsha Blackburn didn't say that she loved us.
She didn't say that, did she?
No, she did not.
Well, look, you cannot try to draw it out of him. He has to say it willingly if it's to match the vibe that Monty Fritz gave us.
All right, we got to go. All right, no pressure, John Rose, to tell us that you love us. No pressure whatsoever. The good thing, though, Joan, everybody can rest assured, I'm not going to say it first.
Oh, we're all very clear on that.
All right, we got to go. 7:57, Joan's got the news coming up, Joan.
Yes, senators are about to take their contempt vote for Dr. Anthony Fauci right now, but that is not Fauci's only problem today. His problems are mounting. That's coming up at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So what do you think is on his phone?
I think there's some good stuff.
The last guy that Anthony Fauci wants to have the copy of his phone from the COVID era has his phone. It's Rand Paul.
In their hands.
Oh, can you imagine?
I cannot.
You know, he's going through his mind, right? And he's thinking, okay, what did I do on my phone? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wordle.
It's like your kids. I don't know if you had this experience, but it's like when you know what? I can't do this. Okay, real quick. It's like when you ask your kids, let me see your phone, and you see their heads start exploding.
Yeah.
Like, what is on my phone?
And they're trying to rapid fire erase.
Oh, no, give me a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
No. Give me your phone. Whatever. 758, the Wellness Institute of Nashville. If you've been suffering from chronic back, neck, or knee pain, they can help you like they've helped so many others across Middle Tennessee. So whether it is non-surgical, spinal decompression, or the brand new Medical Bay One, they've always got the latest and greatest technology to help you get off the sidelines and back into the game. Now, they did it for me years ago, and they can do it for you today. Now, this Medical Bay One, right now, they have a great deal going on. You mentioned my name, Dan Mandis, $33 off of each visit. It is the Epic Spinal Special. Now, what is Medical Bay One? It uses red light technology and stem cell stimulation for tissue regeneration and healing. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com.
Good morning, 8:02. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And the iPhone Dr. Anthony Fauci used during the COVID pandemic is about to be exposed. That phone backup has been obtained by HHS and transferred to the Senate Homeland Security Subcommittee on Investigations. It comes on the eve of that committee's vote, which is happening today, on whether to hold Fauci in contempt for refusing to answer questions before that committee last week. Now, the Wall Street Journal says this may just be the beginning of the document dumps. Senators Rand Paul and Ron Johnson have received millions of additional Fauci-related pages from government servers, and they are still pressing for more. An arrest has been made in the workplace shooting death at a West Nashville U-Haul store. Happened on Tuesday. Here's Channel 4's Amber Giant.
Sorry, well, police say this all started with an argument that quickly escalated to gunfire at this U-Haul here on Annex Avenue. Now, right now, the store remains closed as the investigation continues. 23-year-old Devin Rice has been taken into custody and has been charged with criminal homicide. Now, police say during an interview, he admitted to arguing with his coworker about a drink before shooting him.
The 56-year-old coworker died at the hospital. RFK Jr. announcing that he has decertified the organ harvesting company called Network for Hope. Health and Human Services said multiple federal reviews found patient safety failures that included some potential donors who were still alive, including T.J. Hoover. His sister spoke to the media yesterday.
I saw what happened to my brother. They prepared to recover his organs while he was still alive. During that honor walk, his eyes were open. He was tracking me, and they told me it was just reflexes. Then during the heart cath, he was thrashing, crying, and grabbing the doctor's hands to stop him. Even after those signs, the organ procurement process continued until the physician refused to proceed.
Network for Hope served Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures are ticking up a bit here. The Dow futures now plus 106. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Yeah, that scene on 65 southbound just past Bethel Road, still there. It's a crash involving a tractor trailer. But right now it's off to the shoulder. The right shoulder is blocked off. And Rural Hill Bell Road at Hickory Hollow Lane. Watch there for a crash as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:08, Nashville's Morning News, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to primary election day 2026 here in the state of Tennessee. I've been speaking to, and by the way, all of these are podcasts. I've done a lot of interviews today. One of the most contested districts here in the state, the 5th Congressional District. Andy Ogles, Charlie Hatcher spoke to both of those gentlemen earlier today. And I also spoke with Senator Marsha Blackburn. We just got off the phone with Monty Fritz as we speak to the gubernatorial candidates. John Rose, Congressman, is joining us now on the Newsmaker Hotline. Congressman, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on WTN this morning, Dan. Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So you've been running, I'm just going to say, a very tight campaign. Polling shows that the race has gotten closer. So how are you feeling today? Where are you? And what is your day looking like today on this, the last day of campaigning?
Sure. So feeling really confident. Our polling data is strong and tells us we're on the path to victory. We've seen third-party polls that confirm what we know to be true. And so obviously today is the poll that matters. And so we're encouraging people to come out and vote. And we feel good about the race we've run and the issues that we've put on the table. I am coming to you from Farragut Middle School in Knox County, where we've just been working the polls here and, talking to voters as they come in and, getting a good response here. And so we're excited about seeing Election Day roll around. We've been at this since March 20th of 2025. As you remember, I got into the race 4 or 5 months before any of my opponents. And, we used that time to visit all 95 counties. We just finished our 90th town hall last night, open to the public, no invitation events, invitation-only events for us, taking questions from Tennesseans, listening to them, interacting with them about what they want for the future of Tennessee. And so we think we've made the case that I'm the most qualified candidate in this race. I'm ready to go to work on day one. I'm the only one of the Republican candidates for the Republican nomination who I believe is job ready. I've, learned how to run large organizations by building businesses, and I can bring those skills to work on day one.
Well, one of the things that I'm asking the candidates, each the same general questions. You've been hitting the campaign trail hard, as you just said. What have been the top issues that people are talking about?
Yeah, so I think that the number one topic is Tennesseans are worried about the future of our state, preserving the nature and quality of Tennessee, the beauty of our state, the affordability of our state, the values and the pace of life that we all enjoy. That's really been the number one issue that I've heard as I've traveled across Tennessee. There are other, you might say more practical issues like education and infrastructure and access to health care and access to energy and job creation, economic development. The interesting thing I would observe is not one Tennessean over the last 16 months in these 98 town halls where people could ask any question they want. Not one Tennessean has said to me that they want me to wield power and make Tennessee America's conservative leader. One of my opponents, that's the hallmark of her campaign. And not a single Tennessean has said that that's something that's on their mind. They want to see a governor who will, yes, be conservative. And I'm certainly a conservative outsider with the most conservative voting record of any of the candidates in this race. But Tennesseans want their real problems, the real issues that they face solved. They don't want a Washington, D.C. award for being conservative. They want a governor who will govern with conservative principles and solve the problems that Tennesseans face.
One of the things, Congressman, and I did ask Monty Fritz this question as well, one of the big differences between Marsha Blackburn and you and Monty Fritz is this notion of corporate welfare, of bringing, and I realize it's a more nuanced conversation, but bringing companies in, making the volunteer state their headquarters, bringing jobs here and so forth. Incentives, some people would call that corporate welfare. Others might call it an investment. But, one of the things that you said is that people are looking for jobs in a good economy here in the state of Tennessee. If we're lacking in jobs, and that's what some people have said, that we don't have enough jobs, some of these other companies like a Starbucks can come here and create those jobs. How do you balance that? If you were a governor, how do you balance that between, protecting the state of Tennessee from, as you said when you were here with me, from some of these woke companies and creating an economy in Tennessee that does provide jobs for the people of the state?
Sure, and I think that's a very fair and relevant question. I think it really comes down to Tennessee driving a harder bargain. We've got 500 people coming to Tennessee every day, and I think I sense in your question and lots of job opportunities. Some people would say Tennessee's been doing very well on that front. And so, when you're in the catbird seat, so to speak, and I think Tennessee in so many ways is, people want to come to Tennessee. They like what they see in Tennessee. And so we're in a position where we can drive a harder bargain. And so if a company like Starbucks wants to come to Tennessee on their own dime, that's certainly their prerogative to do that. I think the question and the difference here is about when we use Tennessee's taxpayer dollars, the listeners' dollars, to lure a company here. And I think we've got to have a governor who's strong enough and smart enough to stand up and say, wait a second, this company doesn't sync up with our values. Starbucks is, they just gave $5 million last year, and a big chunk of it went to a group called PRISM that wants to educate southeastern United States citizens about transgenderism. Well, that's just out of step with Tennessee values, and that $5 million might as well be Tennessee's taxpayer dollars because money's fungible, and so they'll use that way. And we'll bring a bunch of people to Tennessee that don't share our values, and we'll be trying to change Tennessee, and we've seen that story happen before. They'll call us Neanderthals, and they'll say our values are out of step with the values of modern America. But I think even Neanderthals knew the difference between a man and a woman and were willing to accept God's design, and Starbucks is not. And so that's really where I think the issue comes down. We do have places in Tennessee where there aren't sufficient job opportunities, and there aren't the kinds of job opportunities that parents and Tennesseans would like to see their kids have in the next generation. And so that's where we've got to focus our efforts. And I know from starting a business from scratch and building a business that employed scores of Tennesseans that the best jobs are the ones that are born here. And so we ought to readjust the way we look at these things. I know Senator Blackburn's defending Starbucks, and she's giving a full-throated defense of Starbucks because one of her important supporters is the person who negotiated that deal. And so she's probably compromised in terms of what she can say about it. She's also said something that's very disturbing to me, is that she said, oh, don't worry, Tennesseans, we're going to recoup the $30 million in 6 months. And her explanation for how is that we're going to recoup it with payroll taxes. And I make this point because I think it really underscores the differences between me and her in this race. Payroll taxes do not come to the state of Tennessee. Payroll taxes, and a business owner would know this, but she doesn't, and apparently her advisors don't, because they've doubled and tripled down on this answer. Payroll taxes are Social Security taxes, Medicare taxes, federal unemployment taxes, and state unemployment taxes. And the state doesn't get any of that money. All that money goes into trust funds that are set up to fund those benefits for Tennesseans and Americans. And so we're not going to recoup one red cent that way. So if she doesn't know what a payroll tax is, and she's saying that's how we're getting our money back, then that means you're going to have a governor who doesn't understand one of these basic principles of business and governance and tax collection. And so if she thinks we're getting the money back through a payroll tax, sometimes people confuse the payroll tax with the income tax. So maybe she's proposing a new income tax for Starbucks employees. That must be what she's proposing, and she hasn't explained that. And I think it's deeply troubling that neither her nor the people advising her seem to know the difference. And I do know the difference because I've signed the checks to pay those taxes, to remit those taxes to the appropriate authorities, and so I understand how that works. And we need a governor who knows how business works.
817 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads real quick on WTN. Eight 17 on Nashville's Morning News. Mostly cloudy, a high of 93. Going to feel like 101. Possible thunderstorms this afternoon. Some breaking news, Joan, real quickly. The GOP-led Senate committee votes to hold Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress.
Not only that, the committee is not sending that contempt of Congress to the full Senate. They're bypassing the full Senate and going directly to the DOJ with this referral.
Oh, snap. All right, very good. Thank you, Joan.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Congressman John Rose joining us. He wants to be your next governor. Congressman, let me ask you this question. Last time you were on, we did that hour-long interview. We covered a lot of topics. I don't want to revisit all of those, but one issue that did come up since we last spoke was that Tennessee is in the running to bring in that $50 billion to create a nuclear life cycle innovation campus. As part of that, it would be accepting nuclear waste and producing nuclear fuel, enriching uranium, that kind of thing. So if you were governor, would you see that as a good idea for our state?
Well, I think it's something we have to study more closely, and I think Governor Lee has already addressed that under his direction, we've put our name in the hat and we're being considered, but there's an opportunity to evaluate, fully this project and, what the pros and cons will be. And so I think the next governor will likely be the person who has to make this decision. We should keep in mind that Tennessee, of course, was in on the ground floor at the very beginning of the Manhattan Project. So we have a deep and long and successful history of being involved in the nuclear science space and in nuclear energy. And we've got Tennessee Valley Authority here who operates 3 very successful nuclear power facilities. So we're already involved there. We already have nuclear waste that has been generated from those activities and a lot of expertise. We already enrich uranium here in our state and develop nuclear fuel and fuel for our nuclear defense measures. And so we have a lot of experience with this. So I think there are reasons that we should be taking a look at the opportunity. And then we can decide as we go down the road does it make sense, or are there risks here or downfalls or pitfalls to this that we don't want to have in Tennessee. As a nation, what we've done is for now 50, 60 years, we've been allowing the nuclear waste to build up at the power facilities where it's been generated. And so we have to guard all of that nuclear waste at these various facilities. We've gotten very good at dealing with it. But I think it is something that as a country we need to figure out what is the most efficient way, what is the best way going forward. Could Tennessee have a role in that? Maybe so. Should we have a role in that? I think that's something that remains to be seen. I'll certainly be listening to Tennesseans about how they feel about that. And I think we also need to look at it scientifically and think about, what makes sense and can this be done in a way that is safe and brings great opportunities to Tennessee. We're right now on the cutting edge of the development of the next generation of nuclear power, and that's a real feather in the cap of Tennessee. And so, I think because of that, it makes sense for us to at least take a look at these opportunities.
One of the things that Senator Blackburn has advocated for is closing the primaries here in Tennessee. She says it's a matter of election security. Almost every single day we see these kinds of stories out there where some sort of weirdness with an election somewhere. And so I'm going to ask you the question, how do you feel about that? Is that something that you and the senator would actually agree on?
Well, I'm certainly open to the idea. Technically we have closed primaries in Tennessee. So really what the debate is not about closing our primaries. It's about whether we have party registration connected to primary voting in Tennessee, which we have historically not had. And so I think we could take a look at how do we do that. The concern, of course, is that folks of an opposite party cross over and maybe disrupt the election in a party primary, like the primaries that are happening today for the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. But I think as Republicans, we've always been a party that's a big tent. We welcome people into our party. That's how we became a supermajority party in Tennessee, with supermajorities in the legislature, in both the House and the Senate. And, I'm old enough to remember when it was exactly the opposite, when Democrats had supermajorities. And so, we have won the battle for ideas and for the hearts and minds of Tennesseans as Republicans by presenting the right ideas to solve the problems and to take on the challenges that Tennessee faces. And so I would just point that out to everyone that, the way that happened through the years is that folks who thought they were Democrats and who had routinely voted as Democrats over the years they decided we like what we're hearing from particular candidates, and we're gonna cross over and vote for them. And then lo and behold, the next thing you know, they're just full-blooded, devout and very focused Republicans, and that's how we built a supermajority in Tennessee. And so we shouldn't lose sight of that as we think about how we might safeguard the sanctity of our Republican primaries going forward.
Congressman, let me ask you, I'm going to have you go ahead and give your 60-second elevator pitch, although you did quite the good job a few minutes ago, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a final 60 seconds. And how can people find out more about your policies and what you believe in? In other words, what's your website?
Sure. So johnrose.com, JOHNROSE.com, and there you can link to our social media. You'll find out about, what I believe on the issues, and you'll see what we've been doing on social media. Again, we just finished our 90th town hall, the only candidate who's done that in this race, taking unfiltered questions, answering unscripted questions. But the real closing argument is I'm the one candidate among the Republicans and frankly among the broader group of candidates that has the experience to roll up my sleeves and go to work on day one, working hard for Tennesseans. And you won't have to pay for on-the-job training with me, and you won't have to pay the stupid tax that comes along with that. I can go to work on day one. I do hope I can earn your vote, and I do ask for your vote.
All right. You didn't have to make it exactly 60 seconds, but you actually did, so very good. Congressman John Rose, love that you came on. I've enjoyed getting to know you over the past year or so. You've always been very generous with your time, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Dan. One last thing I would say, and that is this. It's very regretful that we didn't have a debate in this Republican primary. But I want to say right now that if I'm the nominee of our party, I will debate the Democrat. Sorry that we didn't do that. And I would issue that challenge to Senator Blackburn that she should come out of the basement and she should debate the Democrat nominee. And she ought to answer that today so that Tennesseans know that she will actually do what I'm saying. I'm open to debating. I think I'm confident enough about the ideas that we have as Republicans that I'm ready to debate our Democrat nominee and see who Tennesseans think should be the next governor of Tennessee.
All right, Congressman, thank you very much. And again, good luck to you tonight.
Thank you.
All righty. It is 8:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Is it Jerry Green? Is that who's running for the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll win it. There's like 4 or 5 people running for the Democrat nomination.
So Jerry Green is the one that...
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, her campaign slogan is kind of funny to me.
What is her campaign slogan?
One tough mother.
Okay, you know what?
Which is funny because she's pro-abortion.
Well, she's a Democrat,
yeah.
So she's got that.
She's also anti-mother at the same time.
One tough. So is she like a mom? Is that what she is?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Whatever. All right, it is 8:26 on Super Talk 99.7. All right, so I got through all the interviews, Joan. John Rose did not, by the way, tell us that he loved us.
He did not.
So, but
every rose has its thorn.
That's exactly right.
Well done, Sam.
8:26. Time to find out from Joan what is going to be in her newscast at 8:30. Hello, Joan.
Hello. So we've got this, the Senate panel that just voted to recommend prosecution for Fauci. But they're doing it a little differently. We've got some details on what the plan is here from the Senate panel. It's coming up in the news at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 8:27. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Window Nation. Listen, if you're thinking about replacing your AC, you've got to check your windows first because Drafty Windows, they force your AC to work overtime. New windows from Window Nation help keep your home comfortable, reduces the strain on your HVAC. Now, I've got 4 Window Nation windows in my home. The pros at Window Nation, they can help you get new energy-efficient windows at a great price. You could get 50% off all window styles. You could get 0 down payment and no payments or interest for 2 years. Great deals at Window Nation. That is why they've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, 96% customer satisfaction rating, and over 45,000 5-star reviews. Don't forget that great deal. Window Nation can help you get new energy-efficient windows at a great price. 50% off all window styles, 0 down payment, no payments or interest for 2 years. They're also, by the way, I love this about Window Nation, they're a proud partner of the Wounded Warrior Project. Find them online, windownation.com. That's windownation.com. Yes, indeed, times are tough. If you need a truck or a minivan, maybe an SUV, Mid-10 Ford, they can help you out with great selection and pricing. Now, Mid-10 Ford, they've been here for 56 years, since 1969, helping people get the vehicle that is right for them. Do you know what I did the other day, Joan?
What's that?
I went to Mid-10 Ford, and you know what I did? Very appropriate for my job.
Yeah.
I drove a dump truck.
You just.
I did. I drove a dump truck. So they let me.
Do you have video?
Yeah, they took video. That was the whole point.
Well, you have to see this.
You know what? It was the manliest thing that I did that day.
Yeah.
Is driving this dump truck.
Hold on. Did you put on the vest like President Trump did? And
no, I didn't.
Man.
They didn't have a dump truck vest. Had I known that I was going to be able to drive a dump truck at Mid-10 Ford, I absolutely would have brought the vest. But it was actually a lot of fun. And so they're making a video out of it, and they've got a lot of great trucks there. If you're in the market for a dump truck or a flatbed, whatever, go to Mid-10 Ford. And yes, we're looking forward to seeing that video. By the way, you can save $1,000 or more on select Ford trucks. Go to their website, mid10fordtrucks.com. They also offer special financing as well if you need it. Mid-10 Ford, they are a one-stop shop. You can buy your vehicle there. You can get it serviced. They even have a body shop too. So brand new or pre-owned, check out all the great deals at mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories in our breaking news this morning. The Senate Homeland Security and Government Accountability Committee just voted 8-5 along party lines to refer Dr. Anthony Fauci to the DOJ for criminal contempt of Congress. This time, however, that committee is skipping the vote in the full Senate. They'll send the recommendation for prosecution directly to the Department of Justice. Here's Attorney Jonathan Turley on that move moments ago on Fox News.
Rather than allow this to go to the floor where it would face a filibuster and a higher requirement of 60 votes in order to be referred to DOJ, that's going to add a complexity. That's going to add grounds for a challenge from the other side.
Now, the Democrats on the committee tried to table the vote. They also suggested giving Fauci immunity from prosecution to come in and testify, but the Republicans on that committee rejected that idea outright. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stocks are trading. Dow Jones Industrials plus 37 right now, but the Nasdaq is falling 117. S&P 500 index down 6 points right now. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Problems on 65 this morning. On the northbound side in the June Lake area, just past June Lake Boulevard, you've got a crash and traffic is stop and go from Saturn Parkway up to that spot. White House on 65 southbound side past Bethel Road, you've got a crash to the right shoulder. That's a tractor-trailer crash. And in Eazell Park, Harding Place at Harding Industrial Drive, there's a crash there as well. One more in Smyrna, westbound 24 before Sam Ridley Parkway, a crash on the left shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, Dan, with the way you're managing the clock this morning,
yes,
I don't think we're ever going to get to Hop Springs on time for our party today.
I apologize. Clock management has not been good today at all.
I'm just saying. What's up? How are you?
I blame Sam.
I would too.
I blame Sam. Sam, you got to get better, dude.
Throw him under the dump truck.
Beep, beep, beep. So
Dan was in here, and I don't know if anybody knows this. He was claiming to be better than Trump.
Okay,
that's what he just said to me.
Wow.
He said, I'm better. He said, I'm better than the president.
All right, let's take him to the McDonald's and stick him on the fry line.
Okay, so
he will be on the fry line if he keeps managing the clock this way.
I'm going to do it.
So number one, challenge accepted. Number two, Donald Trump did not actually drive the dump truck.
Here we go.
I actually drove the garbage truck or whatever. It was like a dump truck. Now, somebody's asking me for like specifics on the dump truck. Was it an automatic or manual or something? I have no idea. I pushed
you have
a button.
to shift?
Did you grind the gears, Dan?
Because some dump trucks have a 10 or 13 speed transmission.
No, I don't think so. I hit the button. You know what was interesting? It didn't have like a
clutch.
Yeah, it didn't have a clutch or anything.
No third pedal.
Did not have a third pedal.
So it was an automatic?
Yeah, I guess.
That's weird.
So it was easy.
It was not easy, Sam. It was very difficult.
And you claim to be more Trump than Trump. He would have never admitted that.
Do you agree with President Trump? The guy, because I said it was the manliest thing I did that day, but 5688 says that's the manliest thing you've ever done. No, that day. Now, granted, on that day, I literally came here to do this. I drove a dump truck and other trucks, and then I went home to bed. So I didn't do a lot.
How did this happen?
Mid-10 Ford. I advertised with them. And so I went over. They said, hey, you want to come over and drive some trucks? And I said, absolutely. So I went over. I drove the garbage truck, and I drove a flatbed, and I drove like a big monster pickup truck. And then I drove a more like a starter pickup truck, if you know what I mean.
These things have models, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's all on the video. People watch the video. If you want details, watch the video.
Oh.
I was just there.
You did videos with them.
I did videos. It was a lot of fun, actually.
Interesting.
There's one point where I wanted to know how fast the one truck went because they said it drives really fast. And so I gunned it. There was a car over here to the side of the road. I swear I thought it was a cop because it had some sort of lights on top. It wasn't a cop. It was some sort of a maintenance vehicle. I think, though, that I did drop the SH word on video because I thought it was a cop.
Way to represent the station, Dan.
I know.
Breaking the law on video.
But it was a lot of fun, though.
Don't worry. If there's a flock camera nearby, you'll get your ticket in the mail.
Jason says, I'm just tuning into the YouTube chat. How many steroids is Dan on?
Yeah, you guys copied my bit.
I didn't do anything. I have nothing to do with it.
So on the YouTube thumbnail, we've been making me increasingly more roided out. And so eventually I'm going to be the whole thumbnail. And then Sam hopped on the train and just.
Your producer was informed.
He stole the whole bit. We were doing a little bit because we thought it was funny behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It was a little bit. I thought that was so funny. You walked right into it, Chris. Whatever. Anyway, can I just say this, though? I feel like that bit has become a little long in the tooth.
Oh.
So I don't know if I want to continue doing that.
There will be a explanation required. Like, we'll have to have a thumbnail that shows the in-between swole and skinny.
See, I wanted to go all the way swole, where I was just the entire thumbnail.
Yeah.
And then I want to work my way backwards, where I get anorexic.
Have you seen Ariana Grande?
Dude, she looks like Skeletor. And then the other thing that's so weird is her backup dancers are so inclusive that they include the hefty ones. And so then the juxtaposition between the two, you got Skeletor main stage, and then you got the hefty ladies behind.
You're missing the point, though. The hefty ladies are there to make Ariana Grande look even skinnier. That's what it is. No, that's what it is.
I love that her family said, "Oh, we need to help." You know, she's taking a break, so she's going off with her family now because they're so concerned about her. She's been like this for over a year.
Has she gotten okay? So for people that don't know, Ariana Grande is a singer. She's an actress. She was on Justice.
No.
She was on Justice.
Yeah.
She was on Justice.
Nickelodeon show.
Yeah, Nickelodeon show.
I didn't think
Victoria
she was on
Justice show.
Yeah, Victoria Justice,
She
exactly.
was on that one? I thought she was on a different one.
She was on a couple.
She was on a couple of Nickelodeon shows. But now she is...
Those shows are trash, by the way. They're banned in my house. I don't do any of them.
My kids watched all of them.
Justice was a good show. I watched it with my daughter.
No, dude. Have you ever gone down the rabbit hole of Dan Schneider?
Oddly enough, no.
The guy that produced all those shows?
No.
So Dan had some questionable things in his past. And then when you watch the shows that he produced, where like they're randomly putting jelly on these girls' toes in certain episodes, it's like, did Dan do this for Dan?
Yep.
They were putting... okay, so I missed that episode. Why would anybody put jelly on a toe?
Exactly.
Foot fetish.
Unless it was produced by a creepy guy. And then when you go into like Nickelodeon lore, when Dan you got to watch where was the series on? It was on All That.
Oh, is that the one that had Drake Bell?
Yeah, there was a whole Nickelodeon series. Yeah, Drake Bell got raped a bunch. And then, no, seriously.
Okay. Yeah.
And then when Dan took over the network, they changed the freaking logo to a foot.
The Nickelodeon logo?
Yeah,
is
dude,
a foot?
The Nickelodeon stuff.
Quiet on set.
Quiet on the set. Dude, you got to watch that. You have to. It will ruin everything for you.
You'd think this guy was wearing a fat suit, too.
Dude, Dan Schneider is disgusting.
Okay. Well, here's the good news. I have no reason to watch Nickelodeon ever again. My kids are grown, and Riker's not watching Nickelodeon, clearly. So,
and then, like they used to slime them on Nickelodeon? Remember that? How they used to do all that? The slime?
Yeah, like the Kids' Choice Awards.
But they said it was green for a reason. Because you could turn it to any color in post-production.
Oh.
Why do you do this to me, man?
Dude, this is what I live with. You're inside the mind of Chris Hand.
Okay, good.
This is what you asked. You asked why they're trash. I'm just here to warn people. You should have listened.
Well, I didn't notice any of that stuff when I was watching it with my daughter like 10 years ago. Actually, probably more than that. She's 27.
You were asleep, bro.
Dude, that's like 18 years ago. From like 10 to like 12 or 13 is when she watched the Nickelodeon shows. And we watched it together along with SpongeBob. Do you have any like SpongeBob lore?
Actually, I do.
Oh, come on. SpongeBob is my kid's like absolute fave.
Is yours also the nuclear testing facility?
No. I don't know. Hold on. I've heard this one. That SpongeBob's address was actually the address for Epstein's house on Epstein Island.
You know what those holes stand for?
A sponge?
I have no idea. I'm just throwing that out to see if Chris has something on the holes of Sponge, Bob. Anyway, It's been fun.
Dan Schneider produced it. You know what he'd do with those holes.
So anyway, Ariana Grande looks really skinny, and if she's going off with her...
So I feel bad, though, because I feel like a lot of these Nickelodeon stars are dealing with trauma from their childhood because of these sick freaking adults that were around them nonstop.
Yeah, but what about when you go way back in time to all the kid actors from the 70s? It's the same thing.
They turned out fine. They all
No,
did.
they didn't actually turn out fine.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I can't.
Well, I'm so glad I have no talent and never became a child actor. So there you go. Let's see here. You know, I wanted to do something here, and I don't remember what it was.
Don't worry.
Ariana,
with the way you've been managing the clock this morning, we have plenty of time.
Ariana Grande, her family needs to go and get her some In-N-Out. That's what needs to happen.
She needs some pancakes.
She needs a lot because she is like
I blame Cynthia Ervo.
6707 on the text line. It's called Bikini Bottom, Dan.
Okay. You know what? Fair point. Moving right along. Hey, Stephen A. Smith, I've got this queued up. You want to set it up?
Yeah, well, I thought it was interesting that Fauci got held in contempt of Congress via Rand Paul. I was watching the video backstage here.
Yeah.
And Fetterman voted for this. Fetterman's
ticked.
And you're starting to slowly see a lot of liberals turn. And just last week, Stephen A. Smith was on TV apologizing to Kyrie Irving for how hard he was on him about the vaccine, but he didn't go as far as he went the other day.
Do I think that he should be embarrassed for the self-adulation that he engaged in? You damn right I do.
Talk about Fauci.
Because some of the things that he was telling us to do was inconsistent with science, but he was telling us it was science that led to him making the decisions that he made.
You know how when he does this, I get phantom spittle on my face.
Yes.
Does anybody else feel like that?
It's like when you're outside, you're like, is it raining?
That's $10 million spittle, by the way.
Okay.
Masking, 6 feet distancing.
We got to put a mask on him so he'll stop spitting at us.
The closing of businesses. Forcing businesses to push those mandates upon people like me and others. Because I took the vaccine. And I took a booster. And I wore a mask.
That's where it gets real.
And we were told, hey, you ain't going to get COVID if you do that. And I got COVID. And damn it almost killed me. Going into 2022, I'm in the hospital 90 minutes before the ball is about to drop. And the doctor says, we've been at this for 3+ weeks. You got double pneumonia. You look really bad. If this antibiotic and this steroid does not work, Mr. Smith, I'm sorry, we're going to have to call your family. It looks that bad, but we should know in 3 hours. And through the grace of God, 3 hours later, I felt better after they gave me that steroid and that antibiotic. But those were the longest 3 hours of my life because I thought it was over. And I remember I had done exactly what Dr. Anthony Fauci was imploring us all to do.
Yep.
How many people feel the exact same way?
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people. I mean, I can't believe there's still folks out there, and they're mainly Democrats, who will put Anthony Fauci on that pedestal that he feels like he should still be on. It is amazing how Democrats are still thinking that he's
What's
everything.
worse, the Democrat who says Anthony Fauci is still great, or the Democrat who says, why didn't anybody tell us?
Oh, we were deplatformed. We were told that we were conspiracy theorists. We were told that we wanted to kill grandma, the whole thing.
Yep.
By the way, Sam was telling me, because I can't watch the hearings because I'm on the air, but they were defending Fauci, the Democrats were.
Yeah. Peter's, of course, leading the way on that, talking about how, well, we need to have his attorney in here to question him and everything, and trying to obfuscate that, Senator Paul's supposed to take this. It would be a violation of Senate rules and precedent if he didn't take this to the floor for the entire Senate to vote on.
What do you think?
You know that's going to be their basis for saying that that's illegal, whatever. Even though it's not clear, like the lines aren't really drawn about how they have to take that process. So, but they're going to use it. They'll use it.
They were not addressing the fact that when he was called to testify, it was him who was called to testify, not his attorneys. His attorneys are completely irrelevant to this matter at this point.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Him and Hassan, they were both, but we need to have his lawyer present for any legal advice he could be given.
Do we still believe that he is not going to go to jail? Because that's what everybody wants. They want to see Fauci in handcuffs. You think Chris will see it?
I'd rather just see him have to fight Stephen A. Smith.
Ooh.
Or 100 Beagles.
Bare knuckle brawl, Smith and Fauci. Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith would beat the brakes off of
Oh, you kidding me? Absolutely. By the way, why is Fetterman suddenly wearing suits?
Yeah, what is that?
Did he have another stroke?
No.
I thought he wore a hoodie today.
No,
he was wearing a suit.
He was wearing a suit. Yep.
And I've noticed on a couple of interviews, he's been wearing a suit too. So, I don't know.
Our little Fetterman has grown up.
Very good.
Probably squish my head, in a heartbeat.
Remember, Abdul El Sayed, or is it Hassan Piker? One of them said that Fetterman, his head needed to be on a pike. Which one was that? Was that, they're one and the same.
Whoa.
El Sayed and
it was Said.
Piker. Was that Sayed?
Yep.
Yeah, it said that Fetterman was basically ugly and that his head needed to be on a pike.
Just going full Vlad the Impaler. No big deal.
That's what he did.
Well, it's ironic because that's what Vlad did to get rid of the Muslims in his country.
All right, we got to go. 8:55, Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news coming up at 9 o'clock. Joan.
Yeah, there's an incident involving a hacker and Maricopa County registered voters to tell you about this morning. It's coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I don't know, Joan, what is more frustrating about that story? The fact that it happened or the fact that, I don't want to blow your story, but the reaction of the Biden administration.
Yep.
Like there are two outrage points on this. Chris, you got to hear it. You could do your entire opening monologue on Joan's story.
It's crazy.
I'm listening.
There you go. Chris is listening, Joan.
Right, stand by.
Pressure's on.
For news.
Don't screw up.
Dan Mandis, you know what?
That's like, break a leg, Joan.
Thanks.
It's the deepness of your voice that makes it, gives it like that extra air of importance.
Don't mess it up.
That too.
Thank you.
All right, Dan Mandis. By the way, see you tonight at Hop Springs, beginning at 3 in Murfreesboro. Be there or be square. Looking forward to seeing everybody there.
Based. Have a good commercial, Dan. Don't screw it up.
See, now I got to read this. Now I got to read this thing. All right, here we go. You ready?
I've been born ready. Let's go.
Dan Mandis here with my friends at the Covered Patio. Warmer weather outside means that you want to spend more time outside. Now, if you...
Come on, you
Chris.
had one job.
If you want to add more living space to your home, think about building or upgrading your patio. They've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade, so your back screened-in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. Now, they've got a ton of outdoor living options with the Covered Patio, motorized screens, patio covers, custom wooden decks and outdoor structures, and a whole lot more. They've got a ton of options with styles for every budget. Now, they are dedicated to fair prices and customized solutions for your specific home and your specific space. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to call 615-695-2407, 615-695-2407. Online, it's thecoveredpatio.com, thecoveredpatio.com.